Initiating System 1. System 1 loaded.
The Gorecast is brought to you by American Horrors, the greatest uncut horror channel in the world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all horror. As well as the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head,
America's longest running horror channel, www.withoutyourhead.com.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
What's up, Gorecasters? Welcome back here to the Gorecast with me, Johnny Deadly, and all of the rest of the movie reviewing reprobates that are here on a Thursday with me as we go through some of the cinema. I normally say finest cinema, but we're going through some cinema today. There's some very good movies in here, but they all just kind of have a bit of a... Pacing is a word, I think, that will be discussed a lot in tonight's episode, cinematically. But yeah, so that's going to be us for tonight. We got Knock at the Cabin, the new movie starring Dave Bautista, and it's got Ron Weasley, nopping Ron Weasley, and he's really good in it, and it was kind of cool. I want to see him do some more roles, not as Ron Weasley. We had the new Baby Cronenberg movie starring Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth, called Infinity Pool, and we have a movie that I can briefly comment on because it knocked me asleep within 30 minutes.
it's okay. It's those 30 minutes. You've seen everything you need to see for the rest of the film.
Yeah, it's probably going to fall into the pacing issue that I was discussing earlier, which is called Speak No Evil, which I'm kind of ropily up to date with on the plot, because as I said, I kind of only saw it.
Johnny likes to change the name now to Sleep No Evil, because that's what he did.
Yeah. 1 week, guys. I know I work a lot, but 1 week where movies don't knock me unconscious.
Please. Shouldn't be that hard.
I'll put it to you this way. I've seen Die Hard maybe 5,000 times at this stage during my life, and somehow, call me crazy, I don't think I would have fallen asleep if I was watching Die Hard.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, that was where I was getting at. Yeah, was that it's entertaining.
This thing called substance.
Yeah. Al Bundinga, welcome to the chat. How are you getting on, dude?
Al.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Some people say don't call me Al, but this Al specifically says to call him Al. So.
Okay.
Al.
Cool.
Bundinga.
So disappointed in these movies because I kind of had high hopes for some of them.
I'm not. Hey Joseph, how are you? I'm not disappointed with two of them. I just think there was a bit of a pacing issue, but I was overall. Like if I was in some sort of gladiatorial event and what's Punchy McAustralian guy's name again?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, yeah, you know he loves punching tugboats. Yeah, if Russell Crowe was to come out and go, "Are you not entertained?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm mostly entertained."
75%
I'd say, yeah, 75% entertained for definite.
The rest of it, you're like
20% bored, 5% unconscious.
Are you not anesthetized?
There's two movies where there's at least a solid 35%. None of these percentages are going to add up correctly, by the way, so I hope anyone knows taking notes.
Steiner math.
Yeah, but in two of the movies, there's a 33 and a third % chance that you're probably going to sit down and go, "We've done this already. Why are we doing this again?" During the movie.
Yeah. That's how I felt. Steiner math was going on in my brain, and I just stared at the screen for a bunch of the movie, and I'm like, I don't know what is going on. Don't know. Also, yeah. So movies.
Hey, Hunter.
Hey, Hunter. Welcome in. I will not be eating off-brand Cheetos today because there's already enough off-brand cinemas.
Off-brand. We got off-brand Cronenberg Jr.
I'm pretty sure that was on-brand Cronenberg Jr.
It was pretty on-brand for Cronenbergian Cronenberg's. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of the body horror though to be Cronenberg.
No,
I think it was the masks.
what Baby Cronenberg is getting really renowned for, where Daddy Cronenberg was renowned for. We're just going to call him David Cronenberg. I'm not going to call him Daddy Cronenberg again. That's it. Off the top of my head. David Cronenberg got recognized for having these intense body modification, body horror kind of scenes. Baby Cronenberg is getting renowned for, you need some fucking trippy, fucking psychedelic, fuck you in the brain kind of scene. Specifically, I'm going to say, there was a sex scene in this where I felt I was in Demolition Man, wearing a fuck helmet or whatever it is that they call those things.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was like the sex scene from Demolition Man. Just I didn't get to look at Sandra Bullock. Although I did get to look
Hunter,
at
if you're watching, still stop watching because this episode might get places where your virgin ears shouldn't be hearing any of this.
I'm going to say off the top of my head, it's probably a recommendation I would have given your son for most episodes of the show.
Truth be told, I'm surprised no one's turned around to you and said, "Why do you let him watch yourself and the rest of those reprobates talk on live TV?"
People have. They're me. I've said it to him repeatedly that I'm like,
I mean people that he actually listens to.
Yeah, all right, then that's fair. That's fair. Okay, what movie do you want to do first?
He was going to be watching.
Well, Speaking of Evil came out in 2022, and everybody else came out in 23.
And it's a good way to get
that
the
matters.
fuck out of the way and done.
Okay. I'm not handling this one.
I'll attempt it. Somebody else.
You'd have to forgive
Well,
me.
sorry, I can handle this one for you if you would like, but you're not going to like what I'm going to do.
I can do it. How you do it? It's not really.
I would say it's probably not going to be a very long synopsis.
Bye, Hunter.
I'm going to go. I'll catch you later, Hunter. I'm going to go because this is what this movie does. I'm going to go straight away to IMDb. A Danish family visits a Dutch family they met on holiday. What was supposed to be an idyllic fucking weekend slowly starts to unravel as the Danes try to stay polite in the face of unpleasantness. That all happens within the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then that pretty much
continues to happen for the rest of the hour and a half.
They got a kid. He's deaf, isn't it? Or no, can't speak. Mute. He's mute. The family.
Kind of, sort of.
They go to visit start off kind of creepily polite, and then they start being more creepy polite, and then they become kind of creepy with a flavor of politeness, and then they get crazy. Then they get very verbally insulting towards their guy's son. At which point, I won't lie to you, I would have thought most dads would have stood up and probably thumped the guy into the face the way he was talking to their fucking 9-year-old kid. But no, the politeness prevails in this fucking movie.
You could just hear like the trembling in his voice, like you shouldn't be. That's how.
There's a scene.
He's turning into Adam Sandler from the '90s.
There's a scene later on in that film where that guy's getting punched in the face. And you're looking at it kind of going, this is why you're getting punched in the face, because you're not doing anything.
Does he actually get his head knocked in later on in the movie?
You're not doing anything to actually, what's more, you're not doing anything to prevent the punching in your face, and you could be. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure everyone watching this movie would have had the exact same reaction the first time they got punched in the face, which is, I'm taking your fucking eyeballs out.
I wouldn't have punched the head off him. I wouldn't have punched the head off him straight away, but there would have been a stern conversation of, if you talk to my kid like that again,
if you've been awake enough to see the circumstances when the punch happens, you'd have been digging your finger into somebody's eyeballs as well.
Yeah. It was okay. Now it's time to throw hands.
Wait, what did he do?
He did not throw hands at all.
What did he do?
He slapped him
He
in a
just sat
car.
there and took it like a.
What happened? Because I was at a stage where he'd been just a bit verbally abusive towards the kid.
I don't care about ruining this movie because this movie ruined me.
Things escalated, and the polite people finally realize they're in a situation, and there ain't fuck all they can do about it.
Right.
That whole ending. Well, none of the movie made sense, but the whole fucking ending part, I was just like, Like, why are you allowing these people to do this? It's not like they never showed any form, and even if they had a weapon or something that was like preventing them from like, hey, you can't attack me, I'm holding the gun to you. None of that happened. So it's like, what the fuck is preventing you guys from saying, fuck this?
The one thing I took away from that film is that apparently the Danes won't defend themselves. Not that they can't, but not that they can't defend themselves, but apparently they refuse to. So you can just go over and start beating the shit out of them, do whatever you want.
So polite.
That's my takeaway from that film.
Because like, so what happens is
there's a bit of echo in the coming through.
Oh, hey, Cags.
Hey, Gags. Give me 2 seconds because I'm trying to sort something else here now and I'm locked out.
Well, yeah, the entire movie is predicated on this notion of these people, whatever their upbringing is, they're ultra polite, they're, try not to cause offense, even despite the fact that the people that have invited them out are deliberately antagonizing them, trying to see where they can push them, and it gets to the
like
stage
homeboy be like, hey, let's go out to dinner, my treat. And he actually really even say my treat, and then he's just like, so I'm supposed to be picking up the bill? Oh yeah, thanks, dude.
Oh well,
thanks.
you drank an awful lot of booze. Oh, you want me to chip in? Oh, thank you for taking care of the bill.
Sorry for the echo. I don't know why the audio output keeps reappearing as on, even though I've turned the volume down. I don't remember watching a video on screen with people last week. So
it just, nothing made sense to where it was just like, fucking do something.
Well, and even if you're okay, you know what? Like, say pacifist is a pacifist, respect. Even if you're not going to do something, the amount of times that they could have like legit just walked away is mind-blowing.
In the situation to where like they're being like rude or whatever at like the house. Okay, being polite, whatever. But with the shit that was happening at the end of the movie in the fucking car, that's difference of being polite. That's, hey, you're fucking cutting my daughter's tongue out of her mouth. I think you stop being polite you fucking do something about it.
They should have stopped being polite 5 minutes before that when the entire fucking vibe in the car went from we're picking you up because you're in trouble.
The first moment he fucks the kids out of it from a height the way your man did I would have been like, it wouldn't have just been my kid. I would have been like, dude, I know they were being a little bit loud and running around, but they're kids. If I hear you talk to my kid or your kid like that again in front of me, we're going to have a fucking problem.
But that's just
that would have been the end of the politeness. There would have been a conversation, as in, okay, I'm putting a line in the sand now, dude. I'm either getting back in my car, and I'm ringing child services, by the way, the minute I get out of the fucking house, or you cop the fuck on.
Okay, and like I said, I give, some people just don't like confrontation. They had their outs. But when boy saw what they did to their kid towards the end of the film, all bets are off. Like, I feel like that was the wake-up call.
Yeah, they tried to do a runner for a reason, and then when the other couple catch back up with them again, rather than going straight on full on fucking kill or be killed violence like every sane and rational person would do, he goes along like a weak little sheep, and so does his missus. And this stuff continues to happen. There's no fight.
And there's nothing that, I mean, you might think, okay, this guy's got size on me, he'll kick my ass. But there's nothing preventing you from being in the situation.
Like going out trying.
That entire situation in the car, when he's punched him in the face, I don't care how big you are. The two of you are sitting down, you're in a car, big or not, thumball through the fucking eye makes anybody cry.
And he just sat there and he just kept eyeballing him. Like, he just kind of looked over at him, he's driving, kind of give that look like, hey, you're my bitch now.
The wife was the exact same, because the two wives are in the back of the car, and the one is there holding onto her kid, but she's not actually doing anything. Like, the most feeble attempts.
She didn't know.
But even when
that's what bothered.
Even when stuff kicks off, they know there's something going to happen. Stuff kicks off, that other dude comes along, you're one saying, oh, you are going to let go of your kid. That was the most pathetic attempt at a 2-year-old fucking struggle from a grown woman trying to protect her child that I've ever seen in my life. If that was an Irish woman, I bet there would have been flesh in teeth.
But I feel like when the husband found out what they did to their own kid, he's all like, hey, babe, let's buck out. Hey, babe, side note, this is what happened. To put both parties on guard. You know what I mean? Because, like, he's just driving down the road trying not to, like, freak out. And she's all like, you all right, babe?
Hikage is agreeing with our mentality because he said, my big bro is a pacifist, yet I know he's broken 3 noses in his life. So,
also,
there's points to where
there's pacifism, and then there's just being a doormat.
Yeah.
A
That's what these
pacifist isn't
people
someone
were.
that won't defend themselves ever. A pacifist is someone that will try to come to a peaceful resolution for most things.
You think about it.
There's pacifism.
Like, you think about it. Even
sheep, that you're just there to be.
Even
that's what these people were.
Even when they lost their kid to that one dude, he took him. They still stood there staring down this other couple, and they're like, "Cool, we're gonna fucking do bad things to you," and they like just eyes to the ground. Well,
it was one of those things where like I just got pissed. I was so like, "This." Sad. It was like I was so angry at what was going on because I'm just like, "What the fuck?"
No,
like do something.
Now here's the thing. Like, I get the idea of psychological warfare to break somebody down to the point that it doesn't even occur to them to resist. I get that. But at not one point over the course of this movie did they engage in the kind of psychological warfare that would result in that fucking situation.
There was no breakdown. It was just he did it, they did it, and they allowed him. There was no long period of time. Because believe me, there was nothing else going on in the movie. They could have put it that could have happened during there. No, there was just weird things like dude walks in the fucking bathroom while you're taking a piss or fucking brushing your teeth. I'm like, that's not fucking psychological warfare. It's just a guy being weirdos, and then all of a sudden they're broken down so bad at the end of this movie that it's like, oh, we can't. Oh, we're under your power. It's like, what? This movie's stupid.
No, and like I said,
oh my god.
And like I said, there's ways.
No,
of
I
telling
wouldn't
a
say
story
it's subject or anything like that.
Yeah, but like I said, there's ways of telling a story whereby there are certain techniques to break their mental resistance, or not even looked at here because they're not needed. That's the one takeaway from this film. It's like
these people had no fight or flight
at all.
That was another thing that
literally, not even just like you can break it down into both categories. They had no flight or fight.
Right.
There was a little bit of flight.
Yeah, I will
for about
admit.
5 seconds.
And here's the thing, dude. I love my kids, all right? And I've been in that situation where we've lost the doll that we can't fall asleep without.
Yeah.
In that situation, baby, it's
fuck that.
We're just gonna have to grow up a little bit.
It's okay.
That little buddy is not coming back home.
It's okay. What you don't know is that his brother is going to be arriving very soon to take care of you from now on.
Yeah.
Another fucking brother.
Yeah. That was.
Oh yeah. There was no turning around for that bullshit.
And Cags put in the chat, so he said this is a sub kink movie. Maybe.
No.
No,
I wouldn't say so.
We'll let Carter and Giz answer this. Is it?
No, because the thing.
No.
See, the thing is, one of the
I
misconceptions
didn't see anyone getting their balls stamped on with high heels. So
more importantly, I didn't see any suggestion that the subs were actually the ones in charge because that's the way it works in the real world. That the subs are actually the ones in charge, the ones that define where the lines are, what the rules are, and the Dom has to facilitate
and that whole fucking creepy part where like they fucking.
And a lot of subs are people, from what I understand, that would be in a way of life and or jobs where they run shit the whole time and would have, if they were in this situation, probably ended up knocking the guy out within fucking 10 minutes. The reason they're paying someone to stamp on their balls is because they like to occasionally feel
they like to give up that strength for a second.
Not always,
but it's still theirs.
Not always, but you're right. That is a predominant character trait of subs.
Right.
Real life.
I know I can't paint the entire subgenre with one brush, but I'm saying if you were to give it a flavor, that would probably be the overpowering flavor from the smorgasbord of people involved. Does that feel fair?
Yeah, now granted.
More than likely, subs are actually real life situation Doms, and it's the catharsis.
Now I get it that these people I get it that these people have done this, obviously, quite a few fucking times. But that still doesn't excuse just the lack of fight in the new couple. I mean,
well, even
I don't know, man. I was so
even
baffled.
if you are a natural born sub, there's a certain point where your instinct for survival should kind of.
I would think.
That's what I'm saying. There are certain points to where, okay, he's being a little rude to me. Okay, I like it. Add to this person's trying to take my fucking child away from me, or those are two different.
It's also
things to where they have the same reaction to both things.
It's also
it was just very baffling.
It's also
the husband sitting there. Go ahead.
One of you speak first.
Go on.
I was just gonna say the fact that the husband was sitting in the passenger seat in the front of the vehicle, broken. I mean, like he just like, yep, this
Yeah,
is
because
in
he
the road.
knew,
Like,
because he saw that shit at the house.
Now here's the thing, right?
the wife is still like, hey, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Okay.
He's like not warning her. We could team up and try to like tag team some bullshit. Something.
Okay, here's the thing. We might be all just culturally divided here. And bear with me, right? I don't know for certainty, never having gone there myself, but perhaps if given the pattern that we've seen from the abductors, let's call them, they've done this a lot, yeah? Now,
Right.
at no point do they employ any of the stuff that any of us would employ if we were in their situation to try and break down their captives, shall we say. That tells me that basically all Danish people, this is just the way that they are.
I don't think that's true.
No, hang on, bear with me, right? Because we're seeing like a pattern that they've done this before a lot of times, and the presentation that we're getting is perhaps it's a cultural thing whereby they're so polite they won't fight back.
No,
maybe?
I don't think so,
know.
because I
Well,
won't
but
lie
we
to
don't
you,
know-
I very
well, we don't
poetically.
know
We don't know
anything.
what the other
I've very
people were.
poetically met
There's
some-
no indication
I've
that
very poetically
only
met
reason-
some Danes in Spain while on a plane, and they were
Drunk.
well, yeah, it was holidays. They were having a good time, but I
Different.
wouldn't call them de facto
Pushovers?
pushovers
Well,
as a
The
nation.
hang on. The reason I'm saying it is right, and
They're
it's
very friendly
evidence-
people. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but
But the reason I'm saying this is, and it's evidence in the film, okay? The evidence in the film that presents us is these two predators who are clearly keeping the same modus operandi, you know, all their techniques, all their methods.
Right.
So if these
it
are the
is just
techniques
a
and the
weird
methods-
movie, Cags. You're correct.
but if these are the techniques and the methods they've always been using, then that implies these are the techniques, that's all they've needed to use. That's the implication.
Yeah.
All the times they've done this stuff, they've never needed to do any of the things that we would assume you would need
The
to
only-
do
Yeah.
if you were in that situation.
Well, they,
Which
they,
the
only
they
thing
seem
is
to-
there's
they
no-
do seem to try and paint the bad dad, shall we say, as this kind of overpowering force of a guy, which unfortunately they tried to paint him like that, but there's never any real substance to that character trait that comes through outside of the fact that he's a bit of a,
Right.
a
Like
bit
that
of a
motherfucker
mouthy
doesn't
asshole.
pick up a refrigerator.
With the
Right.
exception of A, he's mouthy, and B, the scene in the car where every single person, yourself not included because you didn't see it, the three of us are sitting there going, what the shit? Because all three of us would have fucking fought back.
Yeah, well,
Like,
this is what
Now,
I'm saying.
But-
From the bit I'd seen, that was kind of the narrative I was trying to get. Was he seems like a nice guy, then it turns out he's a bit of a rough cunt. But they never really delve into the rough cunt stuff more. He's just a real arrogant, ignorant,
Yeah,
gobby
and-
asshole.
It makes the implication that all the other victims they might have run into were just as, for want of a better term,
Blase.
weak. Well,
I was gonna say,
Which ones were the Danish? Was it the kidnappers or
The
the
Danish
kidnappees?
were the kidnappees.
kidnappies.
Yeah. Okay. So I was right. Okay.
That's the one thing where I'm like,
you know what? Just for posterity's sake,
yeah,
let
because
me
I want to
just-
make sure when we're saying the
a Danish
I
family
wanna make
visit a
sure
Dutch family. There you go. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the Danes visit the Dutch, who are also,
Yeah.
to
Who are also
be
predominantly-
fair, are also a nation renowned for being pretty sound
Chill.
and chill. To be honest,
And that's kind of the other side as well.
because the Dutch, they're essentially the Amsterdams as well as all
Yeah,
Dutch. You should,
but
most of them they be
that's-
smoking the weed, chilling the bongs, hanging out. You know,
But
smoke.
that's kind of my point as well. That's why there's none of the stuff that you would expect to see coming out of the Dutch dude.
Yeah.
Like that would be like the over aggressiveness or even certain
The old
psychological
Irish
traits
are
of
a lot
gaslighting,
more
things
renowned
like
for
that.
sticking a headbutt under less arduous
Anybody-
circumstances, and we all know the Americans are.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's-
trying to sound bad, but they're quite willing to pull an old handgun out for a dispute over checkers.
The implication from this film is that the Netherlands is where wimpy killers go to live because it's nothing but
See, I don't know.
It's nothing but free range
Okay, Giz
victims.
said that chat before.
No.
Anyone watching
Based
this
on
on
this
the
film,
rewind,
absolutely.
just
Absolutely,
No, no.
This film,
Well-
because all their victims are free range wimps, and it doesn't take an awful
Right.
lot.
But
But-
it never says that they're all
but-
also all Danish either. They,
All
they
we-
never
yeah,
get
in this
into.
particular instance, it's a
All
Danish
we-
family, need a Dutch family.
At the very least, they have to be similar enough if they're traveling because this
Okay,
pattern.
not necessarily. wait a minute though. All we ever see is pictures of the other victims. So
You
I
also
mean,
need
like
to take into account that
over
there is a
here,
chance-
Same hunting spot.
There is a chance that the family are custom picking people for a specific reason.
And they go
right.
They,
I was going to say like pickpockets pick certain victims.
but they're-
You know what I mean? Like you said yourself, predators.
They're using-
So they're looking for certain
for
aspects of
instance,
people.
If Knock at the Cabin was to merge with this movie, they probably wouldn't invite Batista and his family over because they'd be like, I can see if he gets angry, there's probably going to be a fucking issue.
the thing is, all
Right.
those
Like
pictures,
I'm going to get
they're
Uncle
all,
Phil out of my own fucking house, being one of the issues.
Right.
all those pictures are all taken in the same area, which means they use that hunting ground.
Yeah, they stayed at that house,
Yes,
but
they
that
do.
doesn't mean.
But they could have found tourists, what
Yeah,
have you.
because
Like,
they were at
could
a
have found
resort.
passerbys.
Anybody can visit this resort,
Right.
no matter what.
But the implication at the end of it is that they're going back to the exact same resort.
Okay, but that doesn't mean they're going after Danish.
Creatures of habit.
Yeah, it means that that's
Creatures of
their,
habit stick
sorry,
to the same
that
hunting
means
ground.
that that's their hunting grounds. That doesn't mean that it's all Danish
That
people that
they-
they're hunting.
True.
True.
But
Yeah.
considering, hang on, but if it's a Danish or Netherlands vacation spot, that means that those are the kind of people they're going to be running into. I'm not necessarily
think
saying
it's just
Danish.
a
I mean,
vacation spot. Do you get me?
If it's a resort, that's a
It's just
mall
a
of
vacation
anybody.
spot. This is just happens to be
Right.
the families that we're dealing with within this
I'm
vacation
Irish.
spot.
Okay, I'm Irish. Odds are I'm not going to go to Florida for my vacation, but it's very likely that I'll probably just head down to Ballybunion or something like that. That's
True,
the point that
but
I'm
there's
making.
also a high possibility with other Irish people that they will go to Florida on vacation. Like my brother's
Yes.
been to Florida.
Dude,
But if I'm hunting Irish
Oddly
people,
enough,
I'm not going
like I mean specifically, my brother's been to Florida. Just weirdly,
If I'm going hunting people, I'm not going to go somewhere that I'm not going to run into the kind of target audience that I like to run into. Why would I go to Florida to hunt Irish people when I know there's going to be a bunch of them down in Ballybunion? That's my point. I think they're specifically sticking to certain regions because they know that their preferred victim type would be
I'm
in
going
those
to have to
regions.
ask: is there fact for this in the movie, or is this just a
Yes.
postulation?
No, I'm saying all
No.
the pictures of the families are in the same fucking place.
Yeah. So, are you able to tell the race
And
of
they're-
those people in the pictures just by looking at the pictures?
They're all white, so yeah, kind
So
of.
they
I
could be
can make
American or Irish or English or
I'm saying,
quite
like, they could run
likely
into-
German, especially considering that we're talking about the Dutch and the Danes. So they're all on
Okay,
the
did you
same.
take a look at their cameras? Oh no, wait, you didn't. Sorry. There's a shelf full of cameras. One of the things that
Yeah, that tourists
They
bring
keep it-
renowned with them on holiday, especially
yes,
Americans.
they do. Yeah, they do. They don't all generally carry the big kind of fuck off cameras that you have for doing your photography, though.
The Americans do. Yeah, like
Yeah.
The Americans in the,
I'm just going to stop
so,
talking.
like
Everything I say
if
is
you
fucking
dude
wrong.
take get
Like, I'm not trying to piss in your chariots, dude,
Carter,
legit.
one moment, right? We're not trying to piss in your parade here, but it's like you've seen a lot of movies, right? Close your eyes for a moment, and I'm not being weird, but close your eyes for a moment, right? Think of what's your average generic guy on vacation from Germany, America, and Japan. Massive fucking camera hanging off the neck. Anyway, number
Or
one.
their phone.
And a what?
Or their phone, if they're American. They don't, like, that's...
Yeah, well,
American tourists
that's,
just-
that is part of the thing. You see, I think the cameras are there for a visual story aid, if you know what I mean. I don't think a shelf full of phones would have put the same vibe across, but in a much more... I think if it was a shelf full of phones, you'd be like, okay, these guys are fucking...
But we also saw... Okay, it wasn't... I'm saying the shelf, but we also saw a load of briefcases. There was a room where basically all the stuff that had been taken from all their...
Oh yeah, it looked like their stash shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the point that I'm trying to make is all the cameras, Europeans, the people that are into photography, they tend to bring their big fuck off cameras.
So-
Americans,
Dude, the Americans are renowned for bringing all the cameras
Oh, no.
there on holidays, man. Like,
Like the
renowned for
North,
it.
if I go on vacation, I'm not like I don't know shit about taking photos like Johnny does. So I'm gonna be that dude just doing shit with the fucking selfie stick, what have
there's
you.
also...
Like when
there's a lot
American
of
Megan
people-
and the lads came over, the only reason they didn't bring their big sexy cameras with them was I was like, all the places you're going to go, you're going to have a professional photographer with you, so you don't need any of your camera gear.
There's also what we see over the course of the movie. We've already established that this guy, this couple, the abducting couple, they have certain techniques that they use. Certain
Cags, I
very
wouldn't even
low-
call them gullible people that they go looking for, because to be honest, the guy seems quite friendly when you meet him initially.
Right.
You know,
they're looking for weak
yeah,
individuals.
he has a very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde vibe going on.
That's why I'm saying that they're hunting in the same area, because they know that
I'm
culturally speaking...
I'm not disputing that they're hunting in the same area. I'm 100% agreeing with you that they're hunting in the same area. I just don't think that they're exclusively hunting Dutch.
I do, because any other any other race, as we have just discussed, or any other nationality will fight back.
There's Dutch people that will fight back as well, dude. This is what I'm trying to say to you. I don't think the Dutch are as a nation. I've never heard of them being renowned for being pussies or whatever you want to call it. That's not a stigma that goes with the Dutch in general.
And as much as we joke about like don't fuck with an American over checkers, like there's some weak motherfuckers over here. Like shit happens. There's just weak motherfuckers in all. Hey Tristan.
Hey Tristan, how you getting on? Did you just come over from the lads playing The Forest too? Don't tell me any of the storyline, but is it good?
Where he's hopped in and hopped
because
out.
I was going to hop in their stream earlier and have it on the phone while I was watching the last movie, but I was kind of like, I'm buying this on Tuesday.
To prove a point, dude, I worked gas stations for a while, right? Like midnight till 6 in the morning. And we got a warning like, hey, man, somebody's going around sticking up the stores. They hit the store over here. This dude was in one of those locked, I don't know if you guys got them, but like the locked kind of booths where it's just them and the counter. You got to like put shit under.
Yeah.
This motherfucker got held up at knife point and still gave his shit up.
Under the...
We got weak motherfuckers. Straight up. He's like, dude, like the dude stuck his arm under, give me your motherfucking money. And old boy's like, here you go.
So you
that
grab the arm.
wrist is broken if he like.
Yeah, I would have grabbed the arm and tried to pull him through the fucking tiny hole.
Yeah.
Anybody would. Quite honestly, anybody would.
Not that motherfucker,
if
though.
you told
like,
me you started trying to gnaw the arm off from the bone, I wouldn't have been surprised.
It's either that or you just stand there and laugh at the guy because he's trying to stick you with a knife from 10 feet
like you're
away.
not going to get me. Yeah. Right, like you're not going to reach me.
Now, you and I are slightly different because culturally, now, like seeing as we're talking about stigmas that go with places, we come from a town that's renowned that waving knives at people doesn't have the same effect because we're just kind of a little bit used to it at this stage.
Is it weird that I always took a certain amount of perverse pride in the notion of being called that I was known from Stab City?
We're so known as Stab City that when I used to like just meet random people online.
We're from Limerick.
Are you talking about Stab City? Yeah. Why the fuck do you know it's called Stab City? Everyone knows it's called Stab City, bro. Stab City, bitch. Stab City, bitch.
I went to a gig one time and I was standing in line. I said I was from Limerick. Everyone took 2-3 paces back. No fucking word of a lie. I went, where are you from? Oh, we're from Galway. We all have our crosses to bear.
Galway's a great town.
I know, but I had to say something.
Galway's a violent little town as well, though.
Every place is a violent little town.
Yeah.
That's the point of my conversation.
We have a lot of drinking problems in Ireland.
We don't. We just have a lot of violent people.
That's the drinking problem, is that a lot of violent people drink in Ireland is specifically the drinking problem I was going to get on with.
There's violence in every city, just as there are nice people in every city. It's not necessarily a place that makes some place dangerous. It is the individuals.
As Dennis Leary once famously saying, we fight and we drink and we drink and we fight and we fight and we drink and we drink and we die. I can't remember what song that was. Irish drinking song, that was it.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's not an inaccurate song.
He's not wrong. Like it's why Dennis Leary's never got in trouble for being racist about it. Well, A, because he's partially Irish anyway, and B, because all of the stuff that he said is because he's being partially Irish. He's quite well aware.
Once again, unfortunately, this does bring me back to the kind of the point that I was making in regards, I'm not saying that they're not fighters, but the Danish have a reputation for being negotiators, I suppose would be the better term, or to being polite, being nice. No, look at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
All right, catch you later, Tristan. Thanks for joining.
See you later.
I don't think so. I know they have. I know they have a. They're kind of renowned for being nice, but I don't think they're renowned for being walkovers either. They're just renowned for being nice. Wooden shoes.
I'm not saying the walkover part, but I'm just saying the politeness. I could see how they'd be trying to play off that and all the rest of it. It's just whatever else.
I get what you're saying. I just don't think there's enough evidence to make it that the guy is targeting Dutch people specifically. I think this just happens to be a series of happenstance, and it's a Danish couple and a Dutch couple. And also probably because it's shot in wherever, which would have a lot to do with...
Right. If they were, like, say, picking people up from a gas station, maybe. But, I mean, like, it was a resort. So you've got so many different people flowing in and out of there. Like, they just sat and waited.
Because, I mean,
this couple happened to be...
What was that movie with... What was that movie in the motel? Not motel. It's got...
I always want to say Identity.
No, not Identity. What a fucking movie. So good. Such a good movie. So awesome. It's got Luke Wilson and No Vacancy. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, that's literally what I just said.
Oh, sorry. No Vacancy. Yeah, like if you look at that, now I know they fight back by the end of the movie, but there's a lot of weird shit that goes on in that movie to a point that I'm kind of like, I don't know why you are staying in this motel tonight. Like, by the time it comes to staying in the motel that night, I'd have been like, why are we staying here? Do you know what I mean? Like, I won't lie to you. I think we're going to get murder fucked if we stay in this motel. And maybe not in that order.
You know, you keep going on. Every now and then you go on about how I'm probably the worst person to have in horror movies because of some of my questionable decisions, as you put them.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd like to think that even I would not be questioning that one.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. That's not a normal and American stigma. This came down to the characters where they were kind of like, oh, they're just quirky small towners. No, they're not. They're fucking hillbilly psychopaths.
No, you know what the sad part is?
Training.
You know what the sad part is? We've put more thought into this movie than the people who actually made this movie.
No, honest to God,
they sold.
Honest to God, truth.
I think that they sold what they did.
I don't think that's a fair statement.
Because I legit, they wanted to make this kind of whole. I don't want to say murder mystery because it's not really that. Like, they wanted to make whatever you want to call this movie. Like, I feel like that's what they set out to make, and that's what they did.
I think their main issue that came here is that for the sake of the movie, there's a lot of realistic human nature that they've obliviously taken a blind eye to, because I think no matter how passive or non-aggressive you are, there's a certain, and I only saw maybe 30 to 40 minutes of this movie, but even within the 30 or 40 minutes of the movie I saw, there was at least one situation where I think 95% of people would have had a conversation with the guy, at least, if not a highly aggressive conversation. There would have been at least a line in the sand conversation, kind of going, yo, you're never talking to my kid like that in front of me again. Ever. And we're gone tomorrow. I'm not staying here for the fucking weekend. Fuck you.
I mean, like, and I think that's what really bothered me is, like, I know that there are people that just won't fight. And I know, like, you know, you hear all this shit like, oh, well, they attacked my girlfriend, so I had to step up and protect.
The reason it's so unbelievable is because a major amount of the aggression that comes out initially is not towards the parents, it's towards the kid. And I can't think of a single parent that would sit down and take all of that on the chin the way these guys did. And that's probably where a lot of the unrealisticness that we're speaking about in relation to the way people are dealing with, because it's like, sure, when it's your ass that's on the line, you can decide, okay, I might just try and ride the wave and see where I go. I can't think of a single parent that would see someone lay their hands on their kid like that and speak to their kid like that and just be like, oh, you know, kids be kids. I understand that. I just don't think that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
No, and that's just it. Like, when my kid, oh God, when my kid got pulled out of that car, somebody's arm would still be attached to him. Like, there's no way.
The only way to be getting that kid out of the car is if they physically rip the kid in half, because I would not be letting go.
Yeah. That's the part that just, I'm like, why are you letting any of this fucking happen? Passive or not, there's no reason you should be sitting there and letting someone snatch your child out of your hand with all you're doing. It's just like,
also, why not get out of the car? Like, it's kind of like, if he's so distracted trying to pull the kid out of the back, now's the perfect time to fucking go grab him and put his head through the window.
There was somebody else that came along to pull the kid out.
I was not conscious at this point of the movie.
No. It was a 3-on-2, but the dad still, in that situation, dad could have gotten out of the passenger side and at least come in behind the guy trying to take the kid. Because I'll admit, a car is close quarters. It sucks to try to fight in. but he had the opportunity to get out and get a better hold in the
Car
situation.
sucks to fight
And
in
he
if
just
you
kinda
don't
like,
know how to fight in close quarters.
Or my problem was like reach.
Yeah, you don't have a problem with reach in a car.
Yeah. It's all in close.
Yes. If anything, you're
at an advantage.
Your disadvantages in a normal fight are reduced significantly if everyone's in a car.
You are used to the physics,
and
let's say,
you
in that
also
position.
are probably a little bit more designed to get around the small enclosed space of a car than
I can move in a car, but I learned later that whole like, you know what, a brick is a good thing to use.
Oh yeah, hands down.
I was always like, in that situation, I was still kind of like throw a punch, and my reach is a little bit longer than my body, so I kept hitting like things around me. Life lessons later. That's what I'm saying. After that, I realized, oh hey,
it should always
Also-
be.
Yep.
It should nearly be touching your cheek.
The point of impact for a punch should always be behind your target to maximize kinetic energy.
Or in the middle of your target.
But when what you're supposed to be hitting should be a point behind your target, so that
Yeah, your target is on the way to your finishing point. Yeah, I'm aware.
no, that was all stuff later on in life. So
Yeah, it just, to me, it was just weird because it was like all the creepiness and uncomfortableness aside, there wasn't really any until dude, found the room with all the, pictures and the discovery.
Yeah.
But like maybe that's what it was. But like there was nothing to have the fear of them that they had the fear of them. Like it's just like, why just because dude walks like they're
I think a lot of
little,
it comes down to the father and mother being these overpowering personalities, and that this particular couple that they. This is why I'm saying it's not a race thing. It's they picked a couple specifically because if you think about it, while polite, they did essentially bully the couple into coming up to their cabin in the first place, and I think that is probably one of their testing things. Is like, okay, if we can bully these
did
guys
they leave?
into coming
Did
up
they
to the
not?
cabin, we can probably execute a certain amount of or will. You know what I mean?
right.
oh boy.
No, I think
If you
the
look at a
biggest
lot
problem
of serial
for me-
killers and things like that, that's how they work. It's why a lot of them have this MO, because they know what's tried and tested for them.
And I think for and Buzz, it's just that whole you find the right person to sell the bridge to. I mean, how many times did we hear that joke of just, finding a gullible fucking person, saying the right thing, and then boom, they're trapped. My biggest problem was just the overall, the whole length of the movie was just, I mean, things happened, but they don't. It's just so...
There's a lot of build up and no release. Yeah.
Right.
I think
And by the time it does release, you're just like, whatever, fuck it.
I think
By
perhaps
the
if there
time it
had
does
been
release,
more
I would
of-
imagine that you're literally at a stage where you're like, you kind of deserve what's happening to you at this stage.
Yeah.
lads.
But
Right.
but that's the point.
I had,
You should have been out by
fear
chapter
what they did. It
2.
was just
if they had what we would consider to be the atypical reaction to all that stuff happening in the car at the end, whereby violence does ensue properly, then it would have been worth the build-up. Where it's kind of like, okay, they finally pushed the pacifists to the point that they're actually fighting back. Well done, cool. But they don't. There's nothing. It's just
yeah.
it's just a fizzle.
No, and
I was like,
as I said,
well,
I
that
do
was-
think a lot
that
of
was-
if it was a couple and there was no kids in the mix, some of the behaviors I could probably write off, but I can't see. I can't see a child-loving parent let what happens to that kid happen. But the amount that kid goes through before they decide to nut up.
Yeah, you think the addition of the kids is going to be that point
heightened.
where it's like, okay, that's my, you crossed it. You're
Right.
doing shit with the kid, and it's like,
Even
no.
if you look at the movie, we're going to probably move on to next, which will be Knock at the Cabin. The couple try to handle the situation as calm as possible, and then when you see the dads lose their shit is when one of the guys go to pick up the kid, and they're not even been mean to the kid. They're actually these guys are
Right.
they're, honest to God.
Yeah,
there
that's
isn't
a-
threat
well, we'll get
from
into
these
that when
guys
we
towards
get
the
into
kid.
it.
They're all very friendly towards the kid, and the parents still lose their fucking shit when they see them pick him up. You know what I mean? This guy's practically got a kid's tongue
think
out
that's
in a
what
fucking
bothered me
vice
is,
script.
Right, and I think that's what bothered me watching
I think
those.
you're misbehaving a little bit with my child. Don't stop talking and move someone, you fucking psychopath. God damn it.
And it was bad, just watching those movies back to back of seeing what I just could not understand happening and seeing what I expect to happen. Like,
the funny thing is, for kind of a random group of movies that we picked, they were all very similar.
I don't think so.
Don't go on holidays.
Oh, yeah, there's that. Yeah.
I'm not saying, I guess I want to say they're all, but there's a lot of similar aspects to certain parts of the movies. There might not be carbon copy to where they're like this exact same thing, but there was just certain aspects from each movie that, like, this movie had it, and this movie had it, this movie had it, this movie had it. They may not all three have been one single, like, thing, but, like, there was just a lot of similarities between the three movies and different aspects.
I'm definitely not doing any sort of resorts. That's what I pulled from these fucking movies.
Or anything in the woods. Fuck the woods.
Oh, dude, that's been on my list since a fucking dog days.
Or Dave Bautista. Fuck Dave Bautista.
Fuck the woods.
No, not fuck Dave Bautista. I won't lie to you. I'm loving Dave Bautista in movies more and more.
He was great.
Oh,
he was great.
I'm not saying fuck him like I hated him. I'm just saying the way that he was in that movie, I don't want to be left alone with Dave Bautista.
Actually, you kind of do, to be honest, because, like, to be honest, if 4 people... I'll tell you what, we'll hit the trailer for Speak No Evil, and then we're going to get into our review for the new M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Knock at the Cabin, being pegged by many people as the best thing he's done since Signs. We'll be back in a moment.
This is my husband, Björn.
Nice to meet you. I worked for the Médecins Sans Frontières.
You're a doctor?
Yeah.
Where are you guys from? Holland. You should come and visit us.
Goede informatie. Bij de beste van ski.
Yeah, you made it! Hey! Sorry for the mess. Oh, it's nothing. It's gonna get much worse.
Hi, Abby.
Abel has some difficulty speaking. He has what you call congenital aglossia, meaning basically he's born without a tongue. This is the life. Huh?
It's good that we have a doctor in the house.
I'm not a doctor.
But didn't you say you were a doctor?
Did I? Oh, I lied.
You lied?
Jeg tror ikke, jeg synes, at så rart at være.
Der er halvanden dag tilbage, det overlever du nok.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So many things have felt so wrong. Because we do things differently.
Mor, jeg er bange.
Ja, mor er. Så kan der ikke ske der noget med. Jeg vil gerne hjem. Jeg vil gerne hjem.
No. It truly breaks my heart to hear that you haven't enjoyed your stay. Why are you doing this?
This is my husband, Björn.
Nice to meet you.
Smith is a clone of Will Smith?
No.
No,
that's some not serial killer. That's some fucking hitman movie.
Okay.
Yeah. No. After it is Will Smith and Jaden Smith are like the only 2 males on the planet.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Like, they were... I can't remember what it was, but they were in the future trying to do something and they crashed. Will Smith is trapped, and so it's up to Jaden to go do something.
There's something like that.
I just can't, like, the kid has to send out the distress beacon or some shit. But we watch the kid overcome the jungle and all this other shit.
Yeah, We'll just wait for Buzz for a second, guys. He's just doing, understandably, the fatherly duties. So that'll be it. But we can talk a little bit more about this. I suppose what we could do while we wait for Buzz is we can get into our likes and dislikes for the movie. I liked, from the bit that I saw, it's shot very nice. This isn't A24 or something, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I was just wondering because there's a bit of an A24 vibe. It's shot really well. The all of the acting's really good from what I saw. Like everyone was kind of like I didn't find any of the acting from the bit that I saw kind of stilted or people dialing it in. You know, everyone was kind of doing a good performance. The guy is good at being the evil dad, shall we say. He is good at being this kind of dominating presence in there, but it's just it's a move. The lads, I wasn't actually going to partake in the review for this movie because I only saw about 30 minutes of it, but the lads were like, no, you can literally review the movie because outside of the last 15 minutes of the ending, it's the first 30 minutes, or not even the first 30 minutes. They're kind of up at the cabin and have met the couple by maybe the 15-20 minute mark, give or take.
Right, it's like super quick.
So there's basically the same 25 minutes that I saw from there on repeats itself for another hour, basically up until you get to the final furlong of the movie where people actually start.
It's like little slight, little
tweaks
awkward
here and there. It's someone
altercations.
Awkward thing happens. They have an almost not altercation. Awkward thing happens. They have another almost non altercation.
Yeah.
I give it a 2. I don't know if we were there yet,
we were doing people's likes and dislikes.
Okay, sorry.
No, I have to agree with you. Like it looks good. Like they shot it well, and acting's definitely on point. My biggest problem is just the story. It just so many things happen that don't feel like they happen. It's just repetition.
Yeah,
you know.
It's really slow paced, and it's. The thing is, the idea of the story of, the couple being the couple with the kid being lured off to this other couple's cabin, essentially in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of things that can be done with it, and it just.
I think they tried to do those things, but they actually went nowhere because everyone seemed to just resolve the situation.
They could have taken another path. They could have taken the ultra-violent, weird path whereby after the first 20 minutes they know they're in a bad situation, but they're so far away from everyone, nothing can be happening. Now we have a film whereby it's hunt or be hunted, but instead we get this slow, drawn-out repetition of events that lead up to
no payoff,
an extremely anticlimactic finish.
Yeah,
it'd be one thing if the slow progression led to the couple fighting back and we get some form of actual confrontation, but we don't. It's just,
if I was to describe it in audio terms, if you were to look at the movie like an audio wave, where all of the cool peaks and heights you would see in your normal audio wave for a good song, where it's cymbals that come in and guitar solos would come in and everything, all you have is this constant waving flow of a all right backbeat, and it never really gets outside of that.
Yeah, like Carter said, the acting was fine. It looked.
I know
good.
that was an odd
description,
but it's just
that's why it gets a 2. Because if it didn't have those 2 things, it'd be a 0 for me. So, because everything else,
we're going to give a movie that was very, very competently shot and put together a 0.
No, I was going to give it a 0 if it didn't have that. The 2 is because it. Oh, right.
Sorry.
Giving it points.
I picked you up
because if it didn't look good and the acting was horrible, it would be 0. But like it looking shot well and the acting was good, it gets a couple extra points for me. But other than that, nothing else was worth it. It's just nothing happens and it builds up. You think it's building up to something, and then you're just blue balls. Pretty much, this movie is blue balls.
So
the movie.
You're a 2, you said.
Yeah,
right. I'll probably give it a. I don't know how I'm going to rate this because I didn't see the whole thing. I'm probably going to give it a 3 for the exact same reasons Buzz did. Like literally the exact same reasons Buzz did. But I'm just going to give it a 3.
And that's
it's
like the thing of it too,
well
where
shot,
it is
nicely color graded. The bit of tension I did see them do, they are able to add. there was some very good orchestration of how to use the music and stuff to build the tension, but it kind of never goes anywhere. You get to this certain level of tension, and then everyone just kind of talks it out, and they sit down, and then they go back to your man being a fucking nutcase, and no one doing anything about it. And then I fell asleep.
Joseph asks the important question.
But how is it in a gang? How is it in a gangbang? I won't lie to you.
Passive, it just lets it happen.
We're going to, for the safety of being on air, we're going to remove the kids from the gangbang element. And if it comes down to the two parents, those parents of the good parents, shall we say, they're getting fucked.
Oh, yeah.
14 different directions. And I won't lie to you, there's a very good chance they might involuntarily end up in some sort of Mandingo party. It could go anyway, because they have no survival instincts or...
That's just the husband.
Yeah. Well, the wife didn't really do much.
Oh, yeah.
Not.
She had more of a spine than he did, but it's still not much.
She had more of a spine than she did. Then I'm not going to mention names of famous Hollywood actors, but someone was at a very famous Hollywood award ceremony a couple of months ago where he slapped a very famous actor across the face, and the other very famous actor's wife verbally kind of and non-verbally kind of sent him that direction, and that was about as far as the wife in this got, which was kind of like, you can't let them talk to her son like that. And then the dad be like, okay, you're right, guys, come here, can we all just take a little pause? Can we just take a little pause here for a second? I think we just need to recenter ourselves because we're all just getting a little bit hostile. Could we just maybe take it down a notch? Let's maybe have a cup of tea, have a ginseng, everyone chill out and have a talk. And then
he got Chris Rock.
And then
that happens later in the movie.
It does. Does it? I didn't get that part. Does that actually happen? Of course.
He slaps him.
Oh yeah. He just got Chris Rock, dude.
It's right in the nose. I mean, more of a punch, but more of a slap. But I mean, still.
Yeah. Well, you get my point of the reference was that the wife at no stage tries to actually stop anything. She just kind of. There's a lot of elbow, kind of like, you should probably say something, honey, because, he's trying to cut her daughter's tongue out. Like, they're just quirky, and you don't want to... We live in a time where you can't stand on people, you can't stand in the way of, it might be a religious thing, and next thing you know, we're fucking been racist or something, and it's kind of like, trying to cut your daughter's tongue out, maybe get off the couch. Honey.
So, I'm probably going to give this... Yeah, I'm going to go with a 2 as well. It's just... It does look cool. They were... As you said, it's the same 2 points. It's shot really well. The actors are clearly doing a good job. The problem is, the story is boring, repetitive, and...
Anticlimactic.
Very much... Not just anticlimactic, but that finish is very much unbelievable.
No, they're not finished. They're Danish and Dutch.
Haha. But the point is, it's an unrealistic ending.
Yeah.
It's an unrealistic ending because the ending should have happened 45 minutes earlier in the fucking movie.
It's unrealistic because it doesn't matter where you are or where you're from or anything like that. As Carter pointed out, as Buzz pointed out, when someone goes for your kids, you all of a sudden realize, hey, there's this thing called a primal instinct that's going to make me rip your fucking head off. I was the one that pointed that out. Perhaps you were. I don't know. I stopped paying attention sometimes.
That's the thing I've noticed over the years.
But the point is, because of the ending being fizzle, we get all this build-up for something that never happens, and as a result, you're sitting there going, but that doesn't even make sense.
Was the wife bald or bold? I
think he's referring to Jada Pinkett.
Both, technically. If that's who you're referring to, both, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing it has. It looks good, and the actors did what they were supposed to do. That's it.
Carter, before we move on to your...
That shouldn't be the only...
Before we move on to your thing, are you going to have...
We've already been an hour.
Are you going to have the same points as us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then I suppose there's no point getting into those points. It's exactly... The four of us are very uncharacteristically all on the same page about a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that. Didn't like that.
You're giving it a 4.
It was like straight across the board. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would have thought your ADD would have had this fucking in negative numbers.
Okay, you know what? I know that's a weakness in Carter.
It's not a weakness.
And Carter is working on that.
There's benefits from ADD, dude. To be honest, I know there's loads of fucking disadvantages, but if you're able to hone the power of the ADD, there's actually some benefits to it.
I like, in all honesty, like the whole ADD, like I made it till probably where the shit happened in the car, and that's when I started trailing. Like I guess like I kind of realized, okay, we're on the downhill slope of the story,
And this
I
is
honestly
our climactic finish.
did not give a shit.
Fuck this.
Right, I was like, I don't give a shit. I actually had to rewind it because I realized I'd zoned out.
Wait, did something happen there? Shit, I better put it back.
Yeah, no, it legit happened, dude. I was like, I was fucking with the cat, and I looked up, and I'm like, wait, what?
What were you doing in your spare
So I had to
time?
back it up for a second. Hey, dude. It's a process.
I'd imagine it is fucking a cat. They're wily. Anyway, moving on. We're going to move on to Knock at the Cabin next. That is a 2.75 for the Gorecast, guys, for Speak No Evil. So the movie says Speak No Evil, and we won't. We probably won't speak about this movie again.
We did enough on it, about an hour. So far. Way too much time.
Yeah. A lot of that was establishing were they Danish and Dutch, just exclusively getting murdered.
Nothing to do with it.
Are the Danish targets, yes or no?
We had a stronger debate of something that had nothing to do with the movie.
No, it very
really.
much had to do with the movie. I would say it was a crucial component of the movie. Yeah. So next up, we're going to warn you in advance, guys. Giz is going to have some things to say about this movie. But I found it to be quite. Ooh, you're not the picture I was looking for. There we go. You're the picture I'm looking for. M. Night Shyamalan, the ding dong. He's been on a bit of a. Speaking of waves that ebb and flow, that's how you could define this man's career, because he's been very up and down. He came out with 2 or 3 blinders back to back back in the early 2000s.
99.
We're going to say it was late 99, and we're going to say the early 2000s, just for the sake of me not having to go over 2 decades of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, he's been up and down. He's had a lot of bad movies. He's had 1 or 2, 3 or 4 ones that knocked it out of the park, and supposedly this is one where he's returning back to form. Do I think it's his best movie since Signs? Probably not. I don't think it's his best movie since Signs. I do think it's a very good movie, though, and we're talking about Knock the Cabin, which is a movie, I'm going to say, full of powerhouse performances. Like, I think literally every actor in the movie knocked this out of the fucking park. And for a movie that doesn't really leave the vicinity of one room for the majority, I think they managed to keep it very fast-paced. They managed to keep it. Sorry, there are some pacing issues as well, so it's very fast-paced up until a certain point. But then I kind of, where it slowed down a bit, I kind of got it, the reasoning behind it as well. Anyway, the whole story revolves around this couple. Oh yeah, I haven't changed the poster over yet. Sorry. There we go. No, one day those posters will all just come in at the same size, but today is not that day, I'm afraid. And I'm probably also going to pull up the names of the actors, because I have notoriously just merged them all into Dad 1, Dad 2, Batista.
Yeah, I was going to say Batista and Ron
Batista's
Weasley.
character's name is Leonard. I know that for a fact.
Yes.
And the young lady is Wen. I know that for a fact. And then there's Daddy Eric and Daddy
Adam.
Daddy Adam. Yeah. Daddy Adam.
I think Daddy Adam is...
Daddy Adam is the one who is the receiver of a bad decision by the end of the movie. Or a receiver of a...
Eric is.
Oh, Adam is the one that stays?
Yes.
Adam is the one that's more of the fighter, shall we? Well, not to take away from Eric's
easier way of getting
willingness
into
to
it
fight.
without ruining plot points. Concussed or not concussed?
Not concussed is Adam.
Okay, right. Okay. Right, I picked that up the wrong way around during the movie.
Hey, Hater.
Hey, what's going on, Hater?
Hey,
Welcome
Hater.
in. Is Drax in this movie? He is, and he destroys a lot, actually. Actually, do you know what?
And he has a small shirt.
Technically, if you want to read into the deeper subtext of who these people are supposed to be, he's probably more powerful than Drax.
And Tristan's back.
Probably. Your smoke alarm went off at 2 a.m. Oh, God.
I hope it
Just
plays
to clarify,
okay.
we don't have a... We're going to pause the stream for a moment, guys, for the sake
Right.
of our own chat. You don't have a fire in your house. It just went off for no reason, or are you just in the room hoping that it doesn't go off? Or that it just turns off eventually? I'm just making sure we're not having the standard Irish reaction to fire alarms, which is that my phone? And then moving on.
Oh my God, that sounds like us with tornado alarms in. Tornado alarms going off. Yeah, I know. It's cool.
It went off for 3 seconds and stopped. Okay, cool. It's probably just doing a resetter.
Wait.
The battery's going on it.
Yeah, nothing to worry about here. We're probably just having a bit of a reset. A reset. Right.
Although, side note, I can see why you're like through the roof now.
Movie
definitely
opens up and we're with this young girl named Wen, and she's off in the woods. She's doing a bit of grasshopper capturing. Did I find it mildly racist that the only Asian person in the whole movie was chasing grasshoppers through the woods? Maybe. I don't know.
Oh. Didn't even think about that.
Not like I'm offended or anything, but I was just kind of like,
God damn you, Shamalama Dimba Damba.
Dave Bautista, the man renowned for being covered in many tattoos and being the size of the side wall of a house. He shows up to Wen in a very friendly, although albeit generically pedo-y kind of way initially, where it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? You could see where you might think, okay, we're trying to lead us this direction. Then it turns out that no, Leonard, played by Dave Bautista, is actually just a genuinely nice, sweet dude who's really
Gentle
good
giant.
with kids, and he's aware that a bad situation is about to.
So heartfelt.
He's aware that a very bad situation is about to unfold in front of Wen and her family, and he's trying to put the poor little kid at ease in advance. I suppose is the best way of doing it, and trying to let her know before a situation unfolds where it's going to be very hard to justify that I'm a nice guy, that I'm not a danger to you guys. They notice some other people in the woods, and then Bautista politely explains to Wen that he's like, there's a big decision that's about to unfold in front of your family, and I'm really sorry that it's you guys that it's happening to, but we're going to have to come into the cabin and talk to your parents. Justifiably, when notices that all these guys are wielding some very, very funky looking weapons. And I'm going to say, well done, design department, because you did some good melee weapons there. I enjoyed the look of a lot of them. When justifiably for a kid realizes, oh shit, I think my parents are all about to get murdered, I'm going to run inside the house. So she runs inside the house and starts screaming at her dad's, we need to get the fuck out of here, basically. And the dad's like, what the fuck, calm down, we're going to be fine, it's all right, whatever. And then they hear the knock at the door, or the knock at the cabin, if you will. And they go to open the door, and surprise, surprise, there's some large dudes out there.
Can't see the sun.
And in the defense of the astuteness of both of these parents, they're doing what a normal parent would do. They're trying to rationalize stuff out. They're kind of like, okay, look, this has got to, kids overreact. I'm sure it's just some weird scenario. And then they look out the door and they're like, that dude standing at the door is as big as a fucking house. We might have a fucking problem.
Oh, wow.
And then that's when Bautista starts explaining what the scenario is, which is, we need to come into the house because we need to have a serious conversation with you. We're going to end up having to come in here either way. We want to do this civilly. Please just let us in the house. Understandably, all parties concerned within the house are like, fuck that, you crazy tattooed fuck, you're not coming in here. And then Ron Weasley from Harry Potter shows up and starts trying to smash in the side windows, as does two other women that are with him, and they all get into the house. And everyone finds out that we have all had visions. There is a big decision that needs to be made between one of you, because you need to make a decision which one of the three of you need to die, or hundreds and thousands of people are going to die, and a plague will fall upon humanity every time you refuse to do this sacrifice. We're not going to make you do the sacrifice. We can't make you do the sacrifice. It has to be of your own decision. But a plague will fall. And that's, I don't know how, I kind of don't know how in depth do we want to get.
No, I think you should leave it there, because that's,
Yeah. That's why I started leaving it there, because I was kind of like, when you find out these guys' motives and the way that they're going about stuff, it's a bit of a surprise. It's a big surprise. You think it's going to go one way for, as friendly as everybody is, you think it's going to go one way for quite some time, and then it goes a very opposite direction. This is a movie that's absolutely soaked in religious, I'm not even going to say undertones, it's just soaked in religious storytelling.
Both.
It's biblical.
It is biblical.
There we go. Biblical.
Yeah.
I gotta say, dude, like every time I see Batista, he's just cranking up the notch of how much I like him. Like he's just killing it.
What I like about him, man, as an actor?
Character in this is great.
Do you know what I like about him as an actor is where every other wrestler that's ever become an actor has all kind of gone off up the action movie route.
Yeah.
Batista really picks roles. Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to be the action movie guy. He wants to be the actor.
Yeah. I read something where they asked him about that, and he was like, I don't want to be the next Rock. He says he picks roles that make him feel uncomfortable, so he can like make himself get out there to do different shit.
That's how you learn to be a better actor, is doing stuff you don't know how to do.
It's actually kind of like Jason Statham. Jason Statham started doing films like Lock, Stock, and a bunch of other stuff where you didn't see him fighting. Learned to be like kind of got his acting chops that way, I guess, or got known as an actor that way. And then let people know, oh, by the way, I can also break faces. So,
Do you know he kept his fighting ability so under wraps? I think it was when...
Mean Machine.
No, it wasn't Mean Machine, because he doesn't really martial art in Mean Machine. He beats the shit out of people in Mean Machine.
The whole point is he's the monk, and he's in there in the cage doing the katas and stuff. He's slow motion in it, but you can, like, the technique is there.
Yeah.
Who, Statham?
Yeah. I think it was
in the film Mean Machine.
War. Because...
War was good.
It was one of the first martial artsy movies I saw him in.
For him. Or Transporter.
I think War is before Transporter.
I think Transporter came out first.
Well, then it was Transporter.
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Here's what we'll do. We'll do a quick Google here, really quick.
But the original point that I was making was that, much like Batista, he's somebody who's taking the acting route for the sake of the acting route, despite the fact that he could take the action route.
The reason I'm on this trail of investigation was he the first action movie he did. They were talking about, okay, we're going to introduce you to your fight guy. He'll be the stunt double that does all your fights and stuff like that. And he was like, I got like a fucking 4th degree black belt in whatever. I can do all my own stunts. And they were like, what? And he was like, no. Like, he was like, I can... Trust me. He was like, you probably don't even need a fight choreographer. I'll just have a chat with the choreographer and we'll work some stuff out. And then they were kind of like, oh, fuck. Because Jason Statham, realistically, can fuck shit up. Yeah.
And suddenly they're like, our insurance is going to be so high on this movie.
Well, no, probably not, because he wouldn't have been that famous at the time. If it was Robert De Niro or someone saying this, they would have been like, we're probably going to get the stunt double anyway, just to be honest.
We don't have Tom Cruise money here, bro.
Most of the stuff before he started doing fighting in films, he was a character in movies. But
yeah, he was a character actor.
Yeah, like he would have been secondary character, or he wouldn't have been main star. But the point is that people wouldn't have seen him busting heads or anything like that. So the idea that he could realistically blew their minds. It was like, what?
Okay, Transporter was 2012. No, wait, is that a TV series?
Dude, just look.
There was a TV series for it.
Yeah. Hang on.
Give me a minute. Transporter movies. That's what we'll do.
Just look up the actor himself and his filmography.
Because there's more movies to look through that way. Original Transporter was 2002. That's what I'm looking. Right. War.
Hey, Tristan. Get your air. We'll be here when you need us, man.
Transporter is 2002.
War
is 2008.
2007.
2007.
Okay, so probably Transporter, maybe might have been his first.
And the Mean Machine had been just before. He was in Ghosts of Mars. He didn't even do much fighting in Ghosts of Mars, and that was a violent.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Ghosts of Mars he fought, but it was all bang.
He was in. Okay, he did 3
That
films
was one with Ice Cube,
that were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, I did the shit out of that movie.
He did 3 films back to back that were action movies, but he did not do a lot of fighting in them. Ghost of Mars, The One, and Mean Machine.
Oh no, I'm not saying he wasn't in action movies, but your atypical martial artsy style action movie where it's like I'm the one guy against the world kind of action movie.
But my point was, it wasn't until the Transporter that it's almost like, oh, by the way, I can do all that stuff.
That's it. Literally on the set of they didn't know he could fight until he did Transporter, and they were hiring fight staff basically. He was like, I got it. He was like, cover me in the grease. I'm good. Wait, was that Transporter?
Yeah, it was.
No, I know it's the Transporter series. I'm just trying to think, was it Transporter? That's a great fight where he just pours the bucket of grease over himself and goes to town on the lads. Oh.
I think it might be Transporter, maybe.
Oh my god, I don't think I ever saw that one.
Have you not seen? I think it's Transporter.
I think I zoned out for a second.
Transporter 1. If not, it's Transporter 2. They're having a fight in like a mechanics, and he just someone knocks over like a barrel of oil or grease, and he kind of just slides through it, and then the fight.
He puts his foot. Doesn't he put his foot into like the fucking?
He makes essentially like the samurai shoes. Yeah. He essentially makes like samurai shoes out of like he just puts something on his feet that like are essentially like 2-step platform things, and everyone else is slipping out all over the place, and he's like fucking dancing around, fucking badoink.
It's the second one because I fucking hate the first one.
I like the first one.
I like the first one, but I never got around.
Guy, I fucking love that dude. He's great.
I like the second.
I never got around to the second one.
I enjoyed the second and the third one. They were cheesy, but I couldn't get into the first one for some reason.
I liked the second one as well. The third one was a little bit. The third one was the one with the freckly Russian, wasn't it? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Knock the Cabin. A movie customarily not remotely affiliated with Jason Statham. Yeah, it's out pretty.
The way we're talking about him, you'd think otherwise.
As in, like, it literally only went on home viewing yesterday.
It came out February 3rd.
Yeah, and it only hit home releasing, I think, yesterday or the day before. So, we are going to be keeping it.
But Jason Statham's got some movies.
We can get some in-depth into some of the Jason Statham movies if you want.
I, generally speaking, am not a fan of M. Night Shyamalan movies. I did a quick look there. I did a quick look, and I looked at all the stuff that he's done, and I was kind of like, meh.
He's a guy where if I like it, I like it, and if I don't, there's probably a valid reason.
Right.
For the sake of anything else, right?
He's a love him or hate him kind of director when it comes to his products.
But for the sake of anything else, this I think is, at least for me personally, the most watchable of the films that he's done, in that I sat down, I watched this. There was no point over the course of the film where I was like, this is stupid or anything like that. I had an issue with how it ended, but I'm going to get argued out of that anyway, so it wouldn't make a difference. The other films that he's done, there's always been at some point where he's done something over the course of the film where I've sat there and gone, that's stupid, why did he do that? Now, it's not always the same thing, but there's always some point in his movies where there's at least one thing, if not more, where I'm sitting there going, that was stupid, why did he do it?
I think it's because he became so renowned as the guy that has the big twist in his movie that a lot of his movies,
right.
he was too worried about what the big twist was to worry about, does the big twist actually make sense?
But even when I go back and even looking at his list of films, there's none of the films he's made would I go back and re-watch after watching the first time. And even the first time watching them, a lot of them, I was sitting there.
Well, that's probably because a lot of the really good movies that he's known for are known because of the big twist, and when you're aware of what the twist is going on.
But I wasn't. This is the point that I'm making. Like, I wasn't aware of the twist, The Sixth Sense, watching it. By the time I'd watched it, I knew what the twist was, and I was like, oh, okay. But even like, there was nothing about that movie, even knowing the twist or not even if I hadn't known the twist. The point is, for me, his films are always a one and done, regardless.
Not for me, though.
But this is my point. This Knock at the Cabin, though, was one of those times where, apart from
Hugh Jackman is still jacked, man. Yeah, you're right.
Apart from my take on the ending, where I was like, apart from that, there was no point in the film where I thought there was anything that was done stupidly, or there was anything that was stupid.
Gotcha.
Now, I think a lot of that comes down to this is one of the first movies he's done. He's renowned as a guy that atypically, he writes it, he directs it, he's heavily involved in the editing. He's kind of like a one-man show. He has associate writers on this project, which is unusual. He normally doesn't.
And you reckon they might have smoothed
I
out?
don't think so, but I think I think when
It
you have
felt
the way,
maybe giving him a little bit
the
more
way,
freedom to do other things.
Some of
too.
our promos,
Or focus
they might
on other things.
they may not be the most cinematically, well shot or put together promos, but you and I, all of the storyline loopholes that might come up in any of our promos aren't there, because you and I, when you have two people looking at something, there's more eyes on holes in the plot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will say this definitely felt different.
It felt a lot more driven, if you know what I mean. Like, as in, they had an intention for this movie. From focused, that's another good word, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
They had
thank you.
a lot
Thank
more. This movie went out with a point to get to and get you to and keep you in mystery and not in mystery, and all of that was, in my opinion, I think it's actually laid out quite meticulously. Now, don't get me wrong, it does slow down a little bit in the middle, but I do think due to the gravity of the situation that these guys are having to make a decision about, and the decision that they're having to make, I think the slowing down is nearly purposefully there and intentionally there, because you feel like you're there with them. Do you know what I mean? There's this breathing room where it's kind of like, okay, we're okay. Yeah. And especially as the story goes on, where you start to wonder, are these guys actually fucking cooked, or are they telling the truth? Because there's some cool shit that happens. You know what I mean? And there's some very smart takes on biblical verses as to how that's represented in the modern time, which I thought was very interesting. Like a plague of locusts will fall, for instance. It's not a plague of locusts that we end up seeing falling from the sky.
Well,
they never in this film they never specify locusts. They just say plague. They say
no. A plague of locusts is mentioned when they're speaking the specific biblical verses.
I thought it was a great plague will be unleashed, but before it, or there would be the sky will fall like shards of glass.
Yeah, there was that too, but he mentions locusts when he's talking to Wen at the start. Or is that? Am I mixing up the grasshopper thing? I might be. Ignore me. I might be merging grasshopper. You heard locusts as well?
No. The shards of glass falling from the sky was the dad's.
They did say a plague, but I don't think there was any locust mentioned as being part.
They just said plague.
A plague would descend on humanity, which they,
Why do we look like we're sitting in Soylent Green? This is the fucking deadly space station, hater. It's Space Station Deadly.
Everything that happens over the course of the film, Daddy Adam, comes up with the logical rationale or the logical argument for. Because of that, and because of some of the points that he makes, for me personally, I thought that the end was a bit ambivalent. Personally, I was kind of like, okay, so was it this or was it this? And that kind of annoyed me. And I know the rest of you are all, it's definitely this. But then all the arguments that he made and the fact that coincidence is a thing that happens, it's kind of like, or was it?
I'll see you later, Kegs. Yeah, it's understandable. We started an hour later because Speak No Evil literally knocked me unconscious. Like, me falling asleep and not seeing the movie was not a joke. That was a genuine thing. I was virtually cross-eyed and my eyes were still red. That's how freshly awake I was when I started the call for the show.
Yeah, for me, like the movie at the beginning, because there was an urgency at the beginning, and that's why like the beginning kind of moved fairly quick. But then once, like you said, once you get to the back half, it does slow down. But you said I think it slows down in a good way. Like I actually liked the way it went. Like it kind of needed to slow down a little bit to where, because like I said, because they had to make this decision and they needed to make it quick. Like there was that urgency, at the beginning. And then once we kind of slowed down, once, certain things happened to certain people in the house, we were able to slow down a little bit. And then that's when the whole, what is going on? Like, is it coincidence? Is it? So that's that whole
I won't lie to you.
realization.
I think most of the audience 2 horse riders in would probably be like, there's a lot.
Oh, that fucking pissed me off.
I don't think so.
Sorry. Sorry. No. The randomness.
I don't think it's random. That's the thing.
Hang on. Do you even know what I'm referring to? It's not the events that I'm referring to. I mean the randomness of their association with the horsemen.
Yeah, that's what I'm speaking about. I don't think it's as random. If you look at the modern versions of the biblical representations, or the modern visuals for what the biblical passages say, they all represent a thing. Each one of those people are the person that brings that thing to fruition.
Except that they were all representing the best of humanity.
They weren't representing the best of humanity. They were just...
That's what...
No.
When he starts calling when he starts referencing the whole horseman reference, they're being given aspects that are the best of humanity.
Reference, so that's fine. I don't think so. If you look at what each of those horsemen, like, customarily are supposed to bring with them, and if you look at what the representations of everything that happens are, they're merely the people that were picked. They're the pawns that are put into the place of the people, if you know what I mean.
The whole point of the horsemen is that they represent what's going to happen.
Yeah, and they did represent what was going to happen.
No, hang on a second. When the horseman reference is made, it's not made in a negative connotation. It's not saying this is the representation of this bad thing that's going to happen. This is the representation of this bad thing that's going to happen. It's actually quite the opposite. No. Instead, they're saying this person represents this good aspect of humanity. This person represents this good aspect of humanity.
Not every person represents any good aspect of humanity.
One of the
people that was there, one of the people that was there, Giz, lied about his fucking name and went around beating up gay people in a fucking bar. That was what he was renowned for. Yeah. He was beaten up. Sorry, one moment. He was beaten by his dad. He was in prison multiple times, and he was trying to get his life back on track. But other than that, the guy was an actual asshole.
Cool. He's not the one who made the reference. Somebody else did. They called the chick that was giving food the personification of kindness. They called Batista the personification of like fucking guidance. That was it. Guidance. There was something else for the other two. Those are not negative connotations. Negative connotations are what's associated with the bringers of the apocalypse. These 4 people were supposed to represent the best
bringers of the apocalypse.
Okay.
That's the thing.
But we can still...
You didn't make the decision. They did their thing, and next thing you know, a fist comes up out of the ground and fucking causes a tidal wave.
But there's no allegory for the good people coming along to bring the fucking apocalypse. All of a sudden, where did they all of a sudden pull the fucking guidance, the nurturing, and where did these labels come from?
You're talking about a guy who canonically, in his own actual religion, is renowned for just picking people and putting a duty on them.
Right, like, couldn't this also be just, in general, fucking now I forgot my word, interpretation, or not interpretation, interpretation, like how this individual sees a biblical path,
all
and
of their
made a movie about it.
Deeds that they're there and have done, if you look at what the 4 horsemen are renowned for, are the antithesis of what the horseman has done. One is famine, one is the purveyor and bringer of food, one is plague, one is a fucking nurse that helps people.
I mean, yes.
The nurse that died is the one that brought the virus that kills the kids.
You know what? Hang on a second. You know what? Fine. Clearly I didn't fucking get that until you literally just spelled it out. And that's a fucking problem. If me, am not getting that until somebody else has to literally spell it out.
Sometimes, dude.
Because they're using the wrong fucking terminology.
You're not. I used to be quite religious.
So did I.
Okay.
We're both Irish. We've both done our fucking work. I've got volumes on different religions because of that shit.
Well, you know what I mean? You can't just go, just because I didn't get it means there's a problem with the movie.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's so fucking abstract that I don't think anybody...
The other 3 people on the board, I'm assuming that's stuff that you picked up on as well? I know Carter is because he said...
Yes.
Yeah. See? Told you. There's no point in me fucking talking. I'll just get argued out of it.
No, dude, there's always the point of you talking. Like, that's your view of it.
You specifically, if I didn't get it, that's a problem with the movie. And it's just, I don't think it is when 75%...
Yeah, because I'm an egotistical bastard that usually gets this stuff.
When 75% of the reviewing panel picked up on it and someone else didn't, it means that the movie is doing what it's supposed to do. The majority of the audience are picking up on the subtext.
I'm the idiot.
It's not an idiot. That's just how you saw it. Like that was your
you an idiot.
interpretation.
No one's calling you an idiot.
Right.
It just
Yeah,
seemed
for me-
fucking arbitrary, and the ending of it seemed fucking arbitrary as well. There was no clear definition. Was it actually something, or was it just
There
coincidence?
was 100%
That bugged the shit out
definition.
of me.
Again, okay. Again, that's interpretation. No, like legit. Again, that's interpretation because.
Thank
have
you, Hader.
Daddy Adam
Definitely
making
not an
every
idiot.
argument.
Giz. Yes.
Right. No, by no means do I ever think Kiz is an idiot.
No
I
one said
truly
that.
feel like
You're the
that.
one that said it.
I feel like that is definitely down to interpretation, because like you saw obvious holes to go. This did or did not happen. I myself saw it, and I was like, "Dude, that's legit."
Well, I'll
green
put
light.
it to you this way.
That's
It's,
it.
you can say it's down for interpretation or whatever. I would say anybody watching, too much stuff that the guys are talking about comes to fruition right in front of people's eyes, to the point that the dad nearly has to lie. One dad nearly has to lie at one stage and says it's a pre-recording on a TV, and then
He's not lying.
What?
He's not lying. Batista admits that stuff started to happen.
Yeah, but then the thing is that not everything's pre-recorded. Like there's a
By the end of it,
yeah,
you're right.
by the end of it, there's too much stuff that has been proven to have happened, with stuff been done. Like there's an entire scene with Batista where he proves that he already knows what's happening. He verbatim talks from a news report, saying what the news reporter is going to say seconds before she says it, live, not pre-recorded. That's a big chunk of evidence. There's also all of this stuff has happened in relation to what they're talking about, and I would say yes, everything is always left up for interpretation, but there's also an amount of evidence that comes in that you're like, it's a big dice roll of coincidence for all of this shit to have happened,
Right.
as these people show up, and specifically as stuff happens, and it happens specifically after. I'm trying not to get into the
I know.
I mean, like,
delivery system
like
of
you're
the
right, Giz.
The problem
Like,
is, everything theoretically can be traced to that initial event that they knew it was after happening, the first earthquake.
No, but that's just it. Like that's
It can
that's
be
what I like
until
about
they get
the
to
movie.
the live news segment of it, and he's telling everything that happens before it happens.
The word for word part, yes, but the events that would happen, and it's
Even
only there's only
the
one
events
thing.
that would happen, if you look at what had happened previously, Horseman-wise, the event that he's specifically talking about, if memory serves me correctly, the bit where he's speaking verbatim is as glass shards are falling from the sky. If memory serves me correctly, I'm on the right.
Yeah.
Right. The two incidences that would have happened before that,
Preceded that?
scientifically, could not have affected what is affected in relation to the glass shards.
Actually, that's the thing. That's the thing, and I'm not 100% certain, but
I gotta say
I'm not
real
100%
quick. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not 100% certain, but because of the relationship between the Earth's core and the electromagnetic field, I think if there's a big enough shift, it can create basically an EMP-like effect in the atmosphere.
It doesn't create
which
an
would explain
EMP-like
planes.
effect, though, because nothing else goes out.
Planes
Just
in the atmosphere. High up planes.
okay, cool. We'll just
Right, but
reveal
the
all
TV
the
was still
secrets that we're
working.
talking about.
Real quick though, I think Hader kind of fucking nailed it. True enough, but I think that's meant to make you question what happens in real life. Most of M. Night's flicks are social introspection. It's social commentary, and that's why I think a lot of people don't like his work.
I do
Jen
think that this
loves
is
social
very
commentary.
much. It leaves you open for interpretation at the end, but I do feel, unlike a lot of M. Night's movies, they are actually trying to drive you a direction.
Yeah, this.
But
There's
but
too
it believes,
much
but it,
coincidental for it to be coincidental, if you know what I mean.
but it also right, but it also just like that in itself is commentary because it makes you question where your belief system is. For me, I had no doubt by the end of the movie which way this was going.
Well,
But Giz,
I
obviously,
don't have a belief system into stuff in relation to that anymore, but what I do believe is what I would see unfolding in front of my eyes. Do you know what I mean? And be like,
right.
there's just far too much shit happening lined up the way it's been told it's been lined up.
Oh yeah, no, my social or like my belief system, I was kind of sold by like number 2. and maybe that makes me sheep. I don't know. But like, there was just too much going on. Like, so when I got to the end of the movie, I'm like, yep, okay. I mean, to me, it was undeniable. But like I said, though, you know, Giz watches it, and he's like, but I still have questions. I still, like, he's definitely still sees that in his own views.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but unfortunately, some of my questions were just, you know, it's because I'm not fucking quick enough to get things, apparently.
No, dude. Okay, dude, sorry. One more. Don't you know? No. The self-deprecating thing is not going to work, right? No one is saying you're not too quick enough. No one is saying you're dumb.
I was majorly pissed off about those points, and you just shredded me. But taking all that aside,
that happens sometimes. Some people just don't see it the first time. You pick up on shit in other movies that we don't pick up in.
Look, let's take my idiocy apart, right? This is still the most focused of his films that I've seen in regards to however you might view the ending. There is a point that he's trying, or there's a set story. There's no deviation. You're not watching this thing and then, like in some of these other movies, you're over here for 5 minutes for some random fucking reason. No, it all stays on the point of the story, and all the story beats. There's no wandering. And for me, that was a good fucking thing for this film. Like I said, it's probably the most watchable of his movies for me, regardless of anything else. And I think that's a really good thing for it. So if people are saying that this is the best thing he's done since Signs, which we're not even going to get into what I thought about that, it's probably better than it, in my opinion.
I think it's better than it because there was a lot of. It's more focused. There was a lot of stuff that only made sense in Signs if you had to go and think about it, and there was no actual premise in it to back it up. There is, but there isn't. If you know what I mean, yeah, like right. You really have to go digging to add those plot points together. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a precedent that if you dig enough, you can add them together. That's how the theory came up in the first place. But it's never really a point that they try to put into the movie. If you know what I mean. There was a goal here, and they went in and drove to the goal from the start of the movie.
For me, like, because Giz brought up that whole rewatching his work, I like Sixth Sense because I can go back after knowing what it is and still appreciate like the camera work and how they worked everything. That being said, like Unbreakable and Split and all those were cool, but like I haven't really enjoyed any of his movies. Old was probably the last one I kind of liked.
I don't even think I bothered.
Heap of shit.
Hey,
Hader said,
compared to like The Village,
Hader said, what is the direction he's trying to make you think about what most people claim to be normal? No, when we say he's a lot more driven in direction, as in, this isn't even like the direction being what it makes you think about at the end of the movie. I mean, as in literal storyline, as in there's a start, a middle, and an end, and everything is driving you that direction. There's even a bit of a Chekhov's gun moment. Literally a Chekhov's gun moment where, because they mention about the gun in the lockbox, you don't see it, but it's brought into attention. It's a very meticulously put together movie, and the storyline is, I think, orchestrated quite well, because there's even, as driven as it is, there's a couple of little curveballs character wise that are thrown in there that make you go, wait a minute.
Yeah, but there's a difference between that and having that for some reason goes off and does this thing over here for 10 or 15 minutes and then comes back and doesn't seem to have any bearing on the actual. So everything in this story is relevant to the story itself.
The drive we're talking about with the movie has nothing to do with like a socio-political view or what way you view the world. I mean, as in it's all literally towards the storyline of the movie. There's no exterior bullshit that it's trying to make you think about. It's just trying to keep you in the storyline of the movie all the time.
But what I was going to say was, I've not truly enjoyed any of his movies since Sixth Sense, and this one, like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
like it was.
This was good. The tension in it is impeccable. The character building in it is great.
Yeah.
As I said, Dave Bautista. This is up there with one of his top performances, because it's an out of character guy for him as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Not him being a nice guy, but he's such a gentle giant in this.
For me, not as much, because I know a lot of people might not remember it because it wasn't really the best, but the sequel to Blade Runner 2047.
I never saw that.
But point that I'm making is that his character is very much a gentle giant in that as well, until he's forced to not be a gentle giant. Like he's a caregiver character.
I'll change my thing around a little bit. This is probably one of the most serious roles I've seen him in to date, I think.
No, I kept meaning to check out Blade Runner 2, but I just never got around to it.
It happened. But his character in that is, to a degree, very similar to the character of Leonard, in that he's kind of a gentle giant. He doesn't want to be violent. In Blade Runner, he does have to be violent at times, but it's out of necessity, kind of like this, I suppose. But it's, he's just more caring, more compassionate in those two roles than
and
maybe
it's not
people
just unprecedented. Oh, I'm a nice guy stuff. Like there's you get a lot of backstory about these characters.
Oh,
actually, the guys are so nice, and you can tell that these are people that they've been given a mission, and it's not a mission that they want to do, but they have to do. And
for me, it was weird because, like, I know, and I feel bad for calling him Weasley.
But he is Ron
I can't think of his real name. I know he's done other. Thank you. I know he's done other stuff since then, but I've not seen him.
He hasn't done much stuff since Harry Potter.
I know he's done a couple things. He had like
a
series or something.
I have seen him in something. I have seen him in something else. I think it was a movie.
Yeah.
I cannot remember what
He's
it was, but I do
done
remember
literally
thinking it was good.
one or two things tops.
Okay, I remember something about like a work office thing, but I never actually saw it. And so it was weird because like all I've got is that whole Harry Potter stuff. And this is such the opposite of Harry Potter when you see this character. And dude, I thought it was just cool seeing, that side of him.
In relation to what Hader said here, he said it should be riveting, but also trying to tell us about ourselves. No, it's designed to be riveting. It is riveting, and it's not trying to make us look at ourselves from a deeper thing. It might make you think about what would I do if I was in this situation.
Yeah.
Like that's probably like exterior reaction wise, that's probably the biggest thing I think that they're probably trying to drive home, is that what would you do if you're in this situation? But there's no kind of trying to make you look at your deeper self or anything in this. This is just that's still all the point of the movie. Yeah, it's one of these few movies that it's not trying to make you look at this bigger picture that's never actually painted within the movie. It's a focused, driven storyline from start to finish. Every bit of dialogue from any of the characters is all character building. Like literally from the minute Leonard and Wen meet in the woods up until Leonard and the dads have a conversation near the end of the movie, every little bit of text and dialogue that comes out of these guys is all storyline or character building from start to finish, and not in a shitty like fucking way where it's people just talking a load of narrative and nothing actually happening. As in, like, everything is 100% driven. Yeah, I think we're going to rate it. We're going to. This is why Hader's one of the mods, man. He knows when we just need to rate it.
Stop fucking talking, guys. Fuck on.
We're going to hit the trailer for Knock at the Cabin. We may end up having to take the trailer off pretty early because it's Universal Pictures, also canonically known as a company that like to fuck us in the A when we're trying to do trailers. But worst case scenario, you're going to get to see myself and Buzz and Carter.
Actually, just briefly, I did like the fact that this film started with the 1980s Universal logo rather than the more modern one.
I feel they are. No, they're probably not. Or are they? Yeah, no. There are mobile phones in this, aren't there?
Yeah,
because they said none of them.
Because they tried, there was no signal.
Yeah. At first, I thought that meant it was going to be retro, but even still, I just liked seeing it.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't notice.
Yeah, we're going to hit the trailer for Knock at the Cabin, and then we're going to be back to give our ratings. Catch you in a mo. Sorry, now I remember what I was going to say before everyone interrupted me while I was trying to do the outro for the trailer. It's a Universal Pictures movie, so there's a very high possibility, if you want to hang around, there's probably... it's safe to say that myself and Buzz and Carter are probably going to end up in the green screen room and reenacting the trailer for Knock at the Cabin. I'm just giving you a heads up. But
also, just give you a heads up, Like the trailer
Who's
for
playing Batista?
I believe it was playing Knock at the Cabin when you played it there briefly.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. It's like fucking.
I saw the kids at the pool and went, "Oh, that's a strong trailer."
There we go. Okay.
Oh wow, I'm not live. That helps.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to give the trailer a go again. Fingers crossed, because it's a really good trailer. We'll get to see it. But worst case scenario, it's going to be myself and the three lads in the green screen room. We'll catch you in a moment.
Are we gonna sing along?
Yes, of course!
I wanna put on my boogie shoes. Yeah, I wanna put on my boogie shoes.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you, Will.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too. But my heart is broken
Why is it broken?
because of what I have to do today.
There is a woman carrying something that looks like a pick with a chain and a mallet head.
You see, the four of us have a very important job to do. In fact, it might be the most important job in the history of the world. We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore. The four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse. Your family has been chosen to make a horrible decision. If you fail to choose, the world will end.
You might have gotten a little bit
We're back.
blasé about that kind of thing.
Full trailer played.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nice.
No green screen.
No green screen for us.
Extra points for you this time.
Pictures. It's weird how when we give the movie a good review, they don't flag us.
Right?
Isn't
Well,
it?
start making more good movies, Universal.
Low blow.
Like if they're actually watching our podcast,
The trailer's done. Who cares?
Intently. He's not wrong. Like.
Oh, buzz for the truth. That hurts.
I love how we've left them.
Good.
I
I
love
really
how
wasn't
we've left the
feeling.
most complicated movie to fucking try and fly through at the end.
Oh, I can give you a fucking Carter review of fucking Interpol.
Oh,
I said Interpol.
I might actually request that just for the sake of
Brevity.
I give this
like,
movie a
I have
7.
to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and essentially look at what I can only describe as far too many pages of code.
Carter, people, not a pool.
All right.
Credits.
Okay, so before we move on to the next movie, we have to do ratings for this movie. I'm going to give this a solid. I'm going to give this an 8.5.
7.
I'm just glad Rochi's not here because of Ghostbusters. 9.
Fuck it, I'll go with 8 because, like I said, it is definitely the best film I've seen him do. My own personal thoughts on it aside, it's really good.
I'm giving it the 8.5 because outside of the standard criteria. It's shot great. The acting, like every actor in this movie knocks it out of the fucking park.
Especially no
the
weakness.
kid is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing in this.
Oh, dude, she held her own. I dug the hell out of her.
The kid was absolutely knocked it out of the park. Dave Bautista, Hollywood, give that man more serious roles, I think. The Zack Snyder Army of the Dead movie and this are two very good examples that if you put him in kind of... Because I know Army of the Dead was kind of a... I know it's a zombie action movie or whatever, but at the core of it all, it's also mostly a heist movie. And he was really good in that kind of lighthearted, but still serious heist kind of role. And he was really good in this real serious role here. And I'd like to see more. It was like that movie. It's very, very like. Do you remember when Kevin? What's the name of the guy from King of Queens? Kevin James.
Oh yeah.
What was that movie he did where he was like a neo-Nazi?
Oh, Becky.
It was like it was like getting to see Kevin James not be the cuddly, nice, chunky dude was good, and getting to see Dave Bautista do a really serious role where some acting chops were involved to pull off the character was absolutely fantastic.
He got so many good
scenes. He is. I cannot describe enough how good he is in this movie. How good he is. And I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I like all the Rock's action movies. They're stupid fucking fun. You know what I mean? But
he's an action star.
Guy. It's all clock your brain off and whatever. You're never going to hear me getting this in-depth into one of the roles that The Rock did. Do you know what I mean? He is fantastic in this movie. All of them are. The two dads are great. Everything. Well done to M. Night Shyamalan and the writing crew. Well done to him and the directorial way of doing it and stuff. Every bit of this movie was meticulously laid out with an intention of teaching you something about the characters, teaching you a little bit about what's going on a little bit more, and moving the story on to the next bit. And that drive and intention, if you can keep that going with the rest of your upcoming movies, it'd be great, opposed to sticking a load of people on an island, learning about the ravages of old age.
Oh, man.
Because they call the movie old, and it is, granted, people are getting older way quicker than they're supposed to be, but mostly it's a story about people getting old on an island together.
I mean, again, label slap.
Sounds like
just how what you got. No. Oh, Bubba fucking Hotep.
That's a movie about getting old.
Oh.
That is also a story about getting old. And what happens if you put Elvis and fucking JFK in a nursing home together.
But what happens if you decide you want to clone yourself, Carter?
Dude, I'm going to tell you right motherfucking now.
Before he gets into this, because this review is going to take 180 seconds. Next up, we have Infinity Pool by Baby Cronenberg, whose name I can't remember.
Dave's
dad, who I'm not going to call what I called there a minute ago.
Ben?
No, it is Brandon.
Yeah,
Brandon.
As I say, Baby Cronenberg. He has a new movie out. It's, as anybody would expect, trippy. All of the stuff you would expect from the M. Night Shyamalan movie about it being like a whole fucking, it makes you fucking really think about yourself in the greater text and make you look at the way life is or whatever. All of that's in this, but it's Cronenberg. So, Baby Cronenberg, granted, but you'll find very quickly that Baby Cronenberg and the Cronenberg that fathered him, who was an adult. Notice how I'm not saying what I said before, because that creeped me out when I said it. But you can tell there's been some fatherly influence in his
Cronenberg
cinematic outings since he started hitting the big screen. But now,
no matter the year,
now that we have
no
that
disco
brief little intro as to what's going on, people, strap in. You might want to put a mouthguard in, because this review is probably going to go at about 120 miles an hour.
I'm sitting back so I don't fall over.
I'm sorry, was that me?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. The way you were talking, I thought you.
I put the brakes on your super fast review briefly because I was like, he probably won't even mention the name of the fucking movie. So I was like, we'll just get the. I'm not giving out about it. Do you know trying to find an Infinity Pool poster is absolutely impossible?
Did not realize that was a Carter intro. I'm totally down for that. All right, so couple, writer, rich wife,
There we go.
Lead into the rich wife thing. We're on a resort. Bored as fuck, obviously. Go out to hang out with a new couple. Bad shit happens. And this is all trailer, by the way. I'm not really giving out shit. Bad shit happens while we're all four hanging out. Old boy goes to jail. Finds out, oh shit, I can have a body double. Cool. I don't have to go to fucking jail. I'll just watch myself fucking die. Excuse me. Realized like that was fucking.
I liked how
awesome.
you've actually used some of the sound effects from the movie there. There's a lot of
Oh, dude, ADD, lights, flashy things. I was totally on board for this fucking movie.
Cronenberg films are definitely for the ADD.
Oh, dude, I was on board. Weird shit, masks, lights, weird shit. This happens a lot through the fucking movie.
Bunch of keys jangling.
Right. Like, that's why I'm repeating it, because I was like, ADD was like, not having a bad time. Boobs, totally on board for the whole thing. Boobs. Holy shit, I can do shit here in this island and not go to fucking jail, but my clone can? Awesome! So we're gonna go flash forward.
It's not jail, it's death.
Right. Wind up meeting other people like me that has done bad shit on this island, but haven't paid the fucking price. Holy shit, we're all fucking crazy, because this is fucking awesome! Flashy lights, boobs, more flashy lights, maps.
Say it
and
right,
then, like,
boobs.
Boobs. I have trouble saying
boobs
because it's like pubes, but we saw both, so technically they both work. My bad. And then do I want to see more pubes and boobs? Yes, I do. So we'll keep watching the fucking movie. Bad shit happens. Flashy lights. Wind it down. Do I? Don't I? I don't know. But it's infinity pool.
That sounds about right.
I mean, I feel like that's the movie I want.
There was flashing lights and boobs.
There was boobs. Pubes. That shit happens.
And pubes.
And that
Was
whole
there
like
pubes? There was definitely boobs. I don't remember there being pubes.
There was.
Oh yeah, there was full.
I really I was like, I know those. Been a while, but I know those.
We got to
so,
see an old visit to Dave Bushhausen. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. But no, like I feel like that was pretty much what the trailer has already shown us, minus the boobs. Boobs and pubes.
Minus the boobs.
Right. But flashy lights.
Balls.
Flashy lights. Body doubles. No. Well, there was in the movie.
There was so much flashing going on. I couldn't remember what pieces were being seen.
But yeah, that old body double infinity pool. Do I want to attempt to take over an island and do bad shit? I don't know.
I don't think they even tried to take over the island, to be honest. It's mostly just
same thing we do every
try
night.
to murder our
try to
clones.
take over the world.
Try to murder.
It's Skarsgård and the Goth. It's Skarsgård and the Goth.
You know what?
Is a blonde guy.
The other
is not.
I'm kind of curious as how
For all the
okay, hey,
evil
Skarsgård.
myths, you're just right here on Earth.
Really?
It's Skarsgård. It's Skarsgård and the Goth. Doo 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 doo.
Nerf.
Goth.
I actually felt more
That's the same song for
Sleepaway Camp than I did this film. I was like, cool.
I won't lie to you. That song came out. That came together way quicker. I didn't actually get into any of the plot of the movie, but it came together way quicker than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
There is another lady that's actually Skarsgård's wife in the whole endeavor, but she's literally superfluous. She's there for about 20 minutes at the start, disgusted at her behavior, and fucks off.
She's the bank account.
She's the what?
She's the bank account.
She is the bank account.
Which one? Later.
Yeah.
The only reason Skarsgård makes it through the movie is because the rich wife, like legit.
Yep.
And sadly, I had more fun talking about this film than I did watching it.
I will look.
But Carter had boobs.
And move.
The whole premise of the movie is actually really cool. And the reveal of what the premise of the movie is, when you get the reveal, is also super dope and really cool. And then, in a weird way, this is very akin to Speak No Evil, which is the movie review first tonight, where once that premise gets out there, and there's a couple of little tweaks and stuff as to the scenarios that happen, because you get to kind of see how Mia Goth and her crew are kind of trying to sway and cultivate this guy one direction and everything. But other than that, once that initial cloning experience is out of the way, I'll put it this way, once everything happens after the wife leaves, it's pretty much just lather, rinse, repeat the same shit over and over and over again for about 30 fucking minutes, to the point that the Shyamalan like exterior thought process that they're trying to put on you becomes completely derivative, because they're just trying to drill the same fucking point home, rolling it around and everything. That's just like fucking rich people fucking view fucking life is fucking just expendable. Well, cool, awesome, great, yeah, fucking tell me something I don't know.
Right.
Fucking,
yeah, and the thing is that, like I said, there have been other stories like this, the whole notion of the cloning for fun and games kind of idea. And while this might be the first time it's been presented this way on TV, it's, yeah, like I said, maybe it's just personally me. I was kind of sitting there going, "Oh, it's this."
All right. I was the same. I was the exact same. Initially I was like, "Oh, it's this," and then never got past that, because that was the big premise of the movie is it's this moment, and then it kind of doesn't really have a direction outside of that. Outside of rich people,
it almost gets
assholes.
there too early,
and that's essentially.
There's a conversation that's had shortly after the reveal, when he's meeting the other people, and that one conversation for a few minutes I was like, oh, this could be interesting, but they never go back to it. And that's the conversation of which is which, you know, that little piece. And I was hoping that they'd play with that a little bit more, and they almost do near the end, where that scene that we were discussing earlier with the dude with the bag over his head, they almost do, but they never really properly get into it. And I think if there had been more
they never get a chance to get into it, because the intention for that scene, that's not the intention for that scene. The intention for that scene is
to wreck his head. Yeah.
You know,
I think maybe if there was something at the end of it that left, even just raised the question as to, is this him, or at the very beginning did we see source material?
Okay, and I feel like it's weird, because I kind of saw this movie differently.
Green Inferno, we have done Green Inferno, I think.
Okay, I wasn't sure. That's why I said maybe you and Giz had. I felt like this was more kind of like a social, individual commentary.
Which one are you on about, Green Inferno? Are you talking about the original Green Inferno, or the one that fucking
probably
the Eli Roth?
Roth.
Well, no, Hader likes his horror movies, so it doesn't necessarily mean probably.
I think you and I reviewed the Eli Roth one.
Did we not do the other one?
I was going to say, because the other one was like
the Eli Roth one. We've definitely done the Eli Roth one.
Yeah.
Because that was Green Inferno. The other one was called something else.
Oh, wasn't?
Something.
No, sorry. What?
No. There was an original Green Inferno, and then Eli Roth.
You're thinking of Cannibal Holocaust. They're two different movies.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Cannibal Holocaust.
I think we might have reviewed the remake Eli Roth, or the remake Green Inferno, and Cannibal Holocaust together.
Yeah, but we also reviewed.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a remake. I thought that was a separate like sequel or something.
No. It's a virtually shot-for-shot remake, except he kind of gets a little more. Actually, he doesn't even get a little more into the murder than the original movie, or does he? It's a little more, slightly more graphic than the original movie, and I mean, it was slightly more graphic. I thought his Green Inferno was fine. I liked it. I thought it was.
They renamed. I guess I thought it was a sequel.
No.
So
no, it's just a redo.
Oh, okay. I felt like Green Inferno, Infinity Pool. I thought it, like, yes, the whole, what's the word? The clones. Thank you. God, I'm forgetting
clones.
Words.
Alexander
Yes, the
Skarsgård,
clones are a thing.
Pinky in the Brain.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you.
Thanks, Killian. We did that too.
Fucking thanks, Killian. Oh, fucking loved it. Anyways, Hater, you're sidetracking the hell out of me. So, clones. Yes, that was part of the story, but I felt like what we were trying to do was more of a kind of social introspective of like, how far will you go? What dark sides do you like? Like, what was your freak flag, basically, you know? And yes, the clones were there. There was so many things that were a part of the story, but were there for like show, not necessarily to say.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I'll say my bit afterwards.
Oh, not necessarily that was going to be like part of the story, like the clones, because Giz brought up like, how did we get clones? How did we do this? I felt like we focused more on Skarsgård and like, what's my freak flag? Can I enjoy it? What have you? But it was so fucking long. Like I could not handle all of the flashy lights and.
There's a sex scene in this movie that if Stallone and Snipes were to sue them for ripping off the sex scene from Demolition Man, I could totally understand. Because it essentially is virtually verbatim what the fucking.
It's the orgy version.
It's the orgy version with actual pubes, because Sandra Bullock had her little kimono thing on in the movie, whereas in this movie, goth is all boobs and pubes.
Actually, in the flashing light, you can see Sandra Bullock's chest.
I don't think so.
Because I don't think so. I would have remembered. No. Anywho, this movie reminded me of like
for camera. Just to let you know.
Not that I know of.
That scene.
No.
Like,
that scene, it's kimono. It's just very open, but you actually don't see anything.
When the flashing lights are on, you do.
I know what I'm watching tonight. Anywho, I don't know. Like, I watched Zardos, and there was like same flashing lights. And I like by the end of that movie, I was like, "Wow, I watched a movie. It had some shit." Infinity Pool, I was like,
Zardos at the end of the movie, you're like, that movie took me places. I don't know, am I happy about the places that it took me, but it definitely took me places.
Like, it made me feel some shit. In Infinity Pool, I was like, okay.
I'll tell you,
I was like,
Zardos,
my
when
life.
I watched Zardos, one of the things that made me feel almost instantaneously was I never want to see Sean Connery in a mankini again.
Thank you. That was something.
I feel that Infinity Pool, like I said, I've seen.
That's set in 2023, by the way, Zardos. Just to let you know.
Interesting.
So I expect the mankinis to make a resurgent comeback this year, guys.
So like I said,
want to see that.
So like I said, some of us have seen stories like this before, whereby the whole idea is clones for fun and games. Infinity Pool, I feel, if there's two things that could have happened in the film that would have made it really good, it would have made it make sense.
Actually investigating the storyline further.
Well, partly, yeah. But option A would have been really pushing the whole clone for fun and games aspect, because they didn't push it nearly as far as they could have. And option two is... No, that I mean on a violence level.
I hope we're on the same page, but I do agree with him.
We probably are.
Okay.
We probably are. Like
or at least for a bunch of people that were enjoying murdering versions of themselves, they kept it relatively tame.
That is part
but you also realize
there is one scene of the clone murders that I liked, which I mentioned before, is that there's a bit where, so the clones in this movie, they're not just meat puppets that look like you. They've been uploaded with all of your memories, so you could essentially be swapped out for one of these guys. But there's one of them where the clones are never led to believe that they're a clone, and they're all sitting in the room, and you're also led to believe that the people in the room are them,
the originals.
And then when you get the reveal that it's like, oh, these aren't the actual people, you're kind of like, oh, you fucker, oh, you had me going for a minute. I was wondering where this was going, but okay, you're keeping it on exactly the same level that we're at. I do like the little swerve, but now I'm kind of upset because the storyline is now going to go nowhere.
That's one thing, right? But the very last scene, and I'm not going to say what it is, but if where that person had been in a room rather than where they were, and the implication being that the room is there for them, that could have made it an interesting little thing, because then all of a sudden pieces fall into place and you get a definitive one way or the other. And the ambiguity, once again, is so annoying in this.
I'll tell you something where the ambiguity is very annoying. Is they raised a point, which you mentioned earlier. They raised a point that was very interesting in the story, which when you meet all these guys that have done their you know, they've already killed their clone because they're kind of making a little club of people that have killed the clones. And this dude raises the question. He's like, "Do you ever wonder, are you the clone?" He was like what if it's, because I mean they've uploaded all our memories, right? So what if it's like this is their way of actually fooling you into willingly going in for your death sentence? Do you know what I mean? That it's just like, look, you give us some money, we go whatever. What if like you're not? What if I am the clone and the real me is the one that's there? And then that conversation, that's it. That never comes up again. And it's like it's like he put it there so that sometime later after the movie you'll be like, huh.
But there are hints towards it in the course of the film. There's other Mia Goth says something at one point. Oh frack! I had it in my head there, and fucking I forgot it again. There is a line out of Mia Goth that kind of harkens back to it and makes you, for a second, question things. There's also the scene with the dog. Remember the dog?
Yeah.
Now that also raises the question. That's it. When she is insulting him, she is outlining how they picked him to be their plaything. And then later on, there's the scene with the dog, and there's one or two other bits. So, like I said, if you had that final scene, because we've been told that the place is going to be open for a certain amount of time, but if you had that final scene taking place in a room, and we're aware that the time is up, then that implication is now solid. It's less ambiguous. It's less us trying to piece together what if, and more definitive, this is what happened. And I feel it would give a better resolve to the story itself, rather than once again feeling semi-anticlimactic, because
it feels kind of, sorry, one moment. It feels kind of anticlimactic as well, because really the drive of the story is once all the clone shit happens, because weirdly enough, about a clone in a movie that's about clones are not really the main focus of the movie.
I felt like they were trying to go more for human nature.
Because it is. It's by the end of it all, the main drive of the storyline is that if you let rich people act like God, they'll act like fucking assholes. And once they hit that story beat, it never gets off of that story beat. It's just a spiraling escalation and de-escalation of different situations of rich people acting like assholes. Because even the way they treat Skarsgård's character, I know technically he's got money because he's married into money, but that's like they brought him in because he's the broke dude. Do you know what I mean? Like technically he's the broke dude because his missus told him he can go fuck himself by the time she was leaving the fucking island. Do you know what I mean?
And leaned into the fact that there was a big price tag to get this done.
And all they had to do was just like I said earlier, and even staying with Johnny's perception of it, all they had to do was just up the whole clones for fun and games thing to the point
just investigate some of the fucking stuff you brought up a little bit more than just making it all this on the surface shit that never gets investigated any bit more.
But even as it is, right? If we're looking at the whole subtext thing, and you're saying that they never get past the subtext of rich people be rich assholes, they could have, if they pushed the clones for fun and games bit with Skarsgård, they could have sold the line of everyone can be this if given the right circumstance and opportunity, which is quite frankly a lot of the time, dude, that's the other side of it. When I said that I've seen this clone story before, that was kind of where that was going with it, but they didn't.
Like, I mean, the only other subtext in the movie is essentially that if you lay poon out in front of a guy, he'll do anything to get to the poon.
No, I mean, like
when it's throwing itself at him, a guy is more than likely going to go, okay,
something's being thrown at you. Can you catch it? No,
that's what happened in this. Like that was the impetus there. You know, it was.
They saw that he had a little glint in his eye when he watched that initial clone get killed, and then they cock-led him down a walk to the point that they wanted him.
I felt like this movie wanted to be so much deeper than it was. There
was a lot of story beats that were put in that were obviously, I agree with you, that were there to try and give it this depth. But the thing with a movie being deeper is you have to actually investigate some of the story beats that you're bringing up, opposed to just everything that is on the surface.
Just do you know you said that it was when they saw the glint in his eye that they went for him? No, it's earlier than that, and they actually state that over the course of the film. This is why I feel they could have pushed the whole clones for fun and games and using him as their personal pet more, because Mia Goth says that they picked him out before. Her husband even says that he thought they'd have to get him into trouble, but he got himself into it. They had planned for this stuff to happen, and it happened anyway, but it implies that they saw him, and before he was on the clone train, they decided, we're going to have fun with this dude. And once again, they never pushed that enough for you for the audience, for the viewer to harken back to know this was all.
The only
for their
thing that they try
enjoyment.
to push is that Mia Goth's character thinks he's a little baby boy, and that she's trying to make him act like a man
because she gets off in it.
Yeah, bringing men to fruition.
But you know what?
Which,
Yeah.
like I said, if they pushed him being their picked out pet more, then it would have resonated more, because that's her kink. That's how she enjoys it. The other people are doing their other stuff. We could have had each person having him enact a particular type of death with his own clone, because that's their fetish or whatever.
Could have, but as I said, that's not really the point of the movie. They just want you to realize that rich people are fucking assholes if you give them a bit of power, and that's basically it.
Yeah, which we already knew.
And that's driven home by the last bit you see of Mia Goth, because the minute like everyone's finished the holiday, she just goes back to a normal bird. She's like, okay, catch you next year, maybe.
Right.
So, sorry,
it was like a weird found footage. It was like a weird found footage of just watching Skarsgård go through his character's ordeal. Like, it was just, we cut off, like, you know, the whole clone thing. There's so many points that we cut off to just to watch him do shit.
Yeah, so the only other thing I can say is if you're going to see it in the trailer, that there's these cool flesh-melted monster pig masks that are in there. They are literally a plot device that are put in there, so I think they'd have some cool shots for the trailer, to be honest.
I feel
Like,
no, I actually
fucking thing.
No, I feel there's a deleted scene where it turns out that the corpses, those masks, are made out of their own clone corpses.
Cool.
There's a couple of those
Giz,
masks.
do you know I give out to you sometimes where...
I'm going to shut up and let you do what you want
No,
to do.
no. I'm going to say, do you know the way I give out to you sometimes where you plot design in the movie
I'm not
and
plot
it's...
designing.
What?
Sorry. One of the masks, you know the scene where they're all standing there with their masks on?
Yeah.
One or two of those masks, they look ridiculously similar to the people that are wearing them.
I don't think so. I'm literally looking at him here.
Particularly there's I want to say it's the redhead, and the mask she's wearing, it's like there's coins stuffed into the mouth.
Right.
I think it looks like it's a distortion of her own face, as if
No,
they'd killed the clone and made the mask out of the clone's face.
As I said, I wasn't giving out, but this is one of these situations where you fantasy book stuff in the movie. I hope there's a deleted scene that backs that up, because that would have been nice.
That would be awesome.
It would also explain why Skarsgård's character is continuously wearing, because it was when he was looking at it and he was looking at his reflection, and then I saw the other people wearing them.
Well, they all have their own mask that they wear.
But that's my point. I think they all pick masks that were made from their own dead fucking clones.
Well, okay.
I don't know, 'cause
Here's
we
what
see
I'm
them
going
on
to say.
display.
There's the reason that Giz mentioned it as I feel like there's a deleted scene. There's no precedent of proof for that in the movie. This is what I mean about you fantasy book and stuff. I hope there's a deleted scene, and even if there is a deleted scene, I'm going to have fucking questions as to why that's a deleted scene.
And not
like why those.
The more I think about it, the more I think about it, the more I think I'm right, that I eyeballed it right.
Quite possibly. I don't see. I'm looking at Skarsgård's one and Mia Goth's
Look at
one.
Mia Goth.
I'm looking at Mia Goth's one as well, and I
didn't they steal
we saw them on
from
display earlier. Yeah,
because
exactly.
Other people were wearing them before.
Exactly. Yeah, but exactly. They're there at the resort that these people continuously go back to stay in. Hey, if I know, I'm getting a giddy little thrill if I know that other people are wearing my dead clone's mask as part of their traditional fiesta.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the resort...
It's not in the movie.
Did this whole kind of, like...
Worse yet, hang on. Worse yet, what if it turns out, and once again, unfortunately, this has to be fantasy booking, what if it turns out that the point is that the source material was always wasted, and the source material is what the masks are made out of?
Quite possibly, and also very cool, but unfortunately...
No evidence.
The evidence is not in the movie.
Right.
There's nothing I can wiggle with here to prove it.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact that there's presumably a fucking stack of dead bodies that you could make a fucking mask out of. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not disputing the logistics of what you're saying make total sense. And if there is a deleted scene for that, I would question why that wasn't added in as a plot point. Although I suppose You had that in as a plot point. Does it add to anything in the movie? No. It
They
just
needed-
proves
Exactly.
that
They needed
yet
room
again,
for the
rich
orgies.
people are fucking assholes. Do you know what I mean?
Such an orgy. Wow.
You know,
flashing lights.
Yeah, so did I download the trailer for this yet?
Boobs and pubes.
Acid trip of boobs and pubes.
That's pretty, that's pretty much it.
And balls.
Let me just check here real quick. Did I download this trailer? It'll download quickly anyway, if I didn't.
Man, I can just say anything in the weird.
I did.
Right.
So we'll download this.
Puppies. Ooh, that felt
passport.
Right, I'll just do a quick. If anyone has any final points before we move on, I will say, as you would expect out of anything affiliated to either of the Cronenbergs, as has been proven by now, this is visually beautifully done, and there's a lot of really cool, trippy scenes that are kind of overdone by the end of the movie, to be honest. But the initial blast, when you get all of this trippiness going on, it's a fucking. It's a head trip. I'll tell you, if you have epilepsy, I would probably be a little bit wary.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was like old school trippy, like Zardos or Barbarella.
Yeah. But the trippiness in Zardos and Barbarella, there was some substance to it. Do you know what I mean? Like the trippy in this was just, it's trippy, you know, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm Brandon Cronenberg. I should have a mandatorily freaky, trippy scene.
Right. Gotta outdo my dad. How do I do this?
You know, and I'm not taking away from the expert, the execution on the scenes or anything like that. But the trippiness felt very. It's just trippy for the sake of being trippy. Lol. Yeah. Sorry, we're nearly there. I have the trailer downloaded. I'm just doing the old mandatory.
I think I get why the trippy was in there. The trippy is in there as part of the breaking Skarsgård's character.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Breaking the movie.
I will say,
I mean, like it's
one good thing about this movie,
and they do explain why he's tripping.
One good
so it's not like
thing about this movie, storyline wise, is that Mia Goth knocks this out of the fucking park. She is great in this, and in a way,
dude,
she doesn't just feel like she's appealing to Skarsgård's character. Like in a weird way, you feel like she's hand walking you through all this shit as well. Like she's
playing with him.
Yeah, like they do a good job of Skarsgård is merely the vessel that you're walking around this experience in. You know what I mean? Like, I'll put it this way: I mean, her performance was so good that you could change the whole movie to POV and do it as like a VR movie, and everything would all still make sense. There's going to be an awkward sticky rock scene around 45 minutes, by the way. I'm just going to let you know that if you are watching it in VR.
God. Like, I like
Although
X, but I really
it
thought
might feel a little bit different if you're watching it in POV VR, actually. But, yeah. So, anyway, we're going to hit the trailer.
I liked it better in this than X. Like, I thought she really fucking killed it. Oh, yeah.
You like this better than X?
No, her performance.
Oh, I thought she fucking knocked it out of the park.
I thought she got more range out of this
one. It's just
one.
her character in this had a little more meat in the bones to chew with.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember, she played the old lady as well in X.
Oh shit, that's right.
So, that's why I was saying you think her performance is better in this than X.
Okay. I forgot about that.
The two main characters from both sides of the fucking story in X, Mia Goth plays.
Never mind.
Iggy Pop Plus for Life just popped up on the screen beside me. Great tune. I'm not putting it on, but it's a good tune. Anyway, we're going to hit the trailer for Infinity Pool, and we'll be back with our reviews. And then Buzz has got me some of the weirdest internet.
What did I do? That was a long time ago.
We'll figure that out when we come back from the trailer.
I don't understand why we're doing this. We barely know these people.
It's one day to mix things up a bit.
You're just happy you found your fan club.
I've been waiting 6 years for your second book. Is it coming out soon?
I'm working on it.
What do you do for money then?
You married rich.
I actually came here looking for inspiration.
Mr. James Foster, you'll have to come with us.
Here, the punishment for any crime committed is death.
What did you say?
But for a significant sum, we'll build a double to stand in for your execution.
Double.
It looks just like me.
Maybe think of it as a gift. It's like a new skin working into place. For you to complete your transformation.
This is just a little game.
But I can take some blood. Show me how strong you are. It's really disgusting. You could just sit there and watch it happen.
You know, James, do you worry they got the wrong man?
All right, that's us on Infinity Pool. Infinity Pool. Something. Infinity Pool. So closing likes and dislikes about the movie from everyone. I liked how it was shot. I thought it's got all the standard Brandon Cronenberginess that you would expect. I just kind of felt the storyline hit a plateau at about the 40-minute mark where it just kind of stayed on this and never went anywhere really after that.
There was some standout performances, like we said. Mia Goth was really good in it. Skarsgård was okay. I wasn't all that like.
I don't know, man. That was an award-winning O-face. I don't know if I could just throw that on the camera.
You're never
Probably
mind.
actually got someone to jack him off, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. We had a good old reach round and didn't see that in a 2023 movie. I'll tell you that for sure because it's only February.
I mean, presumably it's not the first time someone's blown one on fucking a Hollywood set, like.
So. Yeah. But yeah, I had the same. It just kind of it goes somewhere and then it just stops and then it just doesn't really go anywhere new for the rest of the movie. Like we're like okay, bam! It hits a wall and then it just we're crashed. We're here.
You came back to Tristan.
Yeah, might as well just go with the wreckage and just keep going with what we're going.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that are like you said are referenced that just don't come back and it's just it's a mess.
I'm gonna sorry because I forgot to say I'm gonna give it a 5 because it's shot really well. It's the initial opening of the movie is great and the whole premise of the movie is very cool and the way the judicial system works in this particular country is also really cool, and when you get the reveal of what's actually going on, that's cool. And then after that you hit this plateau, so I'm never going to rewatch this movie again probably.
No, God, no. I don't hate myself that fucking much.
Yeah, so
I would even make my clone watch it.
Yeah, I'm just going to give it a 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 too. Like there's, like I said, stand-up performances. There's some really interesting scenes in it that are like, oh, I like how they did that. But other than that, it just kind of doesn't really, like once it gets to where, like it doesn't explore enough that I thought it would explore. And it just kind of made me sad. 5.
I'm gonna go 5. I always appreciate a film that's like, hey, here's your freak flag. What side are you on? Makes you question where you are, who you are. But this went on way too fucking long. And I did not appreciate the whole constant, like, hey, let's go back to neon, flashy boobs, pubes, balls. Hey, more storyline. It was just way too fucking much for me. And the end hit, and I was like, well, saw that fucking movie. Cool. Fuck ever. Like I just did not. The reveal just didn't hit. I guess the way I feel like it should have. So.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 as well. Well, sorry, no, I'm going to give it a 6. Y'all gave it a 5. Just because thinking back on it now, I'm wondering if perhaps it is the story that we all want it to be, and it's just missing parts for the sake of time constraints.
That's not an excuse, but okay.
But I feel like that's a negative then. Right. Like,
if you can't tell your story in a 2-hour period.
They did. It's just that because there's bits missing, we forget what story they're telling. Like I said, she targets him at the start. Before anything happens, they've decided we're going to play with this guy. And there's bits over the course of the movie that they don't harken back to enough that lead you to believe that they're just playing with this guy. So I'm starting to wonder, source material actually was erased at the start, and maybe they were just building themselves a pet for next year.
Okay, well, I can't judge that because the source material is missing from the start.
Right.
Well, when I say source material, I mean the person that's then cloned.
Right.
I was going to say I would rather watch Sharknado 23 before I watch Infinity Pool 2.
God damn, I hope that's a thing that happens. I'll tell you that straight out.
So do I.
Sorry, not to delay us anymore, but when that initial tsunami kicks off in Knock the Cabin, and I was like, people tell me that Sharknado can't happen. This is how you get sharks in the city, guys.
Oh my God, yes! Yes! I'm like, that's how it should happen.
That's how you get sharks in the city, dude. 50-foot wall of water fucking comes in, all of a sudden downtown to Shark Town.
Yep. Also, you're like trying to bob and weave a shark to your car. Tristan Wheelan's good, terrible
anyway,
shark movie.
Is a 5.25 from us here for Infinity Pool. As is customary, Buzz has scoured his way through the internet to find me some of the weirdest Amazon items. Was that what you said it was?
Pointless products.
Pointless products.
Things that are made that are like, why was this made?
Understandable. Right. So, first one up, we have think of the snout snuggie like muffs for your nose. Now you can be warm and look amazing at the same time. And yes, it's faux fur. Ever suffered from problems with a cold nose in the wintertime? Well, you've seen earmuffs. Think of the snout snuggie like a muff for your nose, as you stated in the first line. Now you can be warm and look amazing at the same time. And yes, it's faux fur. What?
I'm so curious, like earmuff style, where like, you know, it kind of pinches on both sides, or like clown nose where it covers.
There's no image, regretfully, for this.
Yeah, let me.
What's it called?
What?
It's just that line of a muff for your nose all the way through my head was, isn't that already a thing?
What the fuck? Okay, I like eating chopsticks using chopsticks to eat as much as the next guy. But chopstick-esque extensions for your apple pods.
Yeah. That just looks like a piss poor attempt at Darth Vader helmet without any of the rest of the stuff.
Oh, that's
he is somebody's father, guys.
No, I'm not.
Moving on. Okay, the Pillow 1S. I'm going to have to read this on this screen. It's too small. A pillow for your smartphone. If you've blown plenty of money on the latest flagship smartphone, then you no doubt want to look after it and keep it in great shape. Why not treat it to its own bed? Right?
Yeah.
I feel having a pillow on the top as well, if you're looking to protect your smartphone, would have been a crucially...
You would think.
You would think. Well, I'm not buying that.
Oh, nay.
Oh my, shutter shades, I'm assuming, before I even read the thing. Throw some shade with some sunglasses with your own blinds. Are your usual sunglasses letting in too much light and not giving you quite enough privacy? Are you looking to start a new fashion trend? Then sun shaders might be the product for you. Stylish blinds for your sunglasses.
Just walking might be a problem. 'Cause normally you can't see with the blinds.
A hot dog hider. Oh, this is what all the cankle crankers need. Get your goddamn glizzies going. Fuck yeah. This invention basically shields your mouth from view while you're eating messy hot dogs in public. If you like to eat hot dogs in public but are worried about making a mess all over yourself, then worry no more, as this invention basically shields your mouth from view while you're nomming.
The funny is, it doesn't prevent you from making the mess. It just prevents people from seeing you make the mess.
But you know what? I appreciate it because I don't need people seeing me fucking eat. So I'm on board for that.
I was eating Taco Bell earlier today, and Aaliyah's like, "Dad, you got something in your beard." I'm like, "If I had the hot dog thing, you wouldn't see that."
Oh, it's a shame.
Right, exactly.
It's a shame Hikage's gone from the chat, guys.
That's why I picked it.
It's the baguette backpack. Take your fancy.
Oh wow!
Take your
Am I the only one? Am I the only one that just visioned that guy going, "Hungard"?
Right.
Take your fancy sandwich with you anywhere with this bread-carrying backpack. Wonderful. If there's nothing you enjoy more in life than a delicious extra-long baguette, then this invention may be just what you need. Take your fancy sandwich with you anywhere with this bread-carrying backpack. Wonderful.
Tristan's like, I'll clip this and send it to him later.
You know,
saw that and I was
there's
like, yep.
the start of that last paragraph. Hikage could use it as his dating profile.
Ouch.
I'll let you postulate about what bit of the paragraph I'm talking about.
That should be it. I think
that's it, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Okay, well, that's it for myself and the Gorecast lads. I'm going to make this a quick exit because I have work in 5 hours. And I will catch you all later. We will be back on Sunday for the standard community games night. Then next Tuesday, we're taking the battle hardy beatdown and we're removing the fight ring and we're replacing it with some debate podiums as we sit down and discuss
found footage.
It's a found footage
right?
beatdown. We're all going to bring a found footage movie to the debate stands because we can't actually make movies scrap each other because they are autonomous objects that have no limbs. And you could, if you want to get into it in that way, I can look up to see if there's a steel case box set for any of these movies, and that will probably de facto win if that's the way you're going to do the fight. But that's not what it is. It's going to be more of a debate fight, a fight of the words, a fight of the mind, which has pretty much been the way.
Fuck, I'm going to lose.
It's pretty much the way the beatdowns have been anyway. They're all discussion topics, but this is going to be a lot more discussion topic-y. So if you have any found footage movies that you think should be on the board, maybe think about them, bring them to the chat with us Tuesday, and then following that next Thursday, we're watching
Haven't
some
done
movies.
it yet. Yep.
TBA.
We'll catch you all during the week where we're going to be talking about some other sort of mad horror bollocks. Gorecast out, fuckers. Bye-bye.
How many cap?
Roshi, what sort of time do you call it? Also, before I go, how is the New Forest? Is it good?
I do hope everyone heard Buzz going crack. How many cats?
That happened before I went off here the last time.
Oh, good.
Do you know what? It's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I'll be playing it with you next week. I will carry. Okay. Mad horror bollocks. Talk to you next week. Bye.